Daycare provider Samantha Burks says former client Lillian Linton owes for breaking their contract. Lillian claims Samantha left her kids unattended in a parked car. She is countersuing for child neglect.
I've read your complaint, which alleges that the defendant breached a written contract that you had with her for child care. At some point, she terminated your services, you say, without good cause. She owes you some money. And in addition, she filed false charges against you with Child Protective Services, which required them to investigate your home, investigate whether or not you should continue to be licensed as a child care provider. Ms. Linton says that she took her children out of your care because you placed them in a situation that could have been dangerous. And she is counterclaiming for the potential harm that you did to her children. So when did she take the children out of your care?
On the 1st of July.
Tell me what monies you allege she owes you.
I'm alleging she owes me all that is paid through the county. She called me and gave me a 2-week notice and didn't fulfill it.
She gave you 2 weeks notice when?
The day after in question. I guess it would be the 2nd of July.
On or about July 1st?
Well, may I tell you a little bit previously? Because I had not been keeping her kids. The end of school had come. And so we started making arrangements again for me to start keeping her children again. Miss Linton leaves her children home alone. I only was keeping her youngest son.
Shh. Don't interrupt her. I just want to know what happened on 7/1.
Okay. The day in question, I picked her children up.
How many children?
I picked all 4 of them up.
How old are they?
They're 13, 9, 6, and 1.
Is that your son?
Yes.
How old are you?
12.
Is that the one that you said was 13?
Yes, I was told he was 13.
You're 12?
Yes.
12, 9, 6, and 1?
12, 8, 6, and 1.
Okay. Go ahead. So you picked up her children, 4 children.
I picked up her children, and the day in question, I had a class I have to take. There are certain requirements through the county that you have to take classes. So I had a class. Gloria McMillan's a friend of mine, and I have her watch them. She's watched her kids many times before.
Is Miss McMillan a licensed daycare provider?
No.
Are you permitted under your contract with the state to leave the children with unlicensed daycare providers?
Yes.
You are?
That I'm aware of. I've never...
Shh. Listen, I don't need any help, and this isn't a tea dance. Not that you're aware of.
Not that I'm not aware of, exactly.
Oh, okay. So, Ms. Burks, did you have to take classes in order to be a child care provider?
Yes.
Did they do a background check?
Yes.
Criminal background check. They did fingerprinting?
Yep.
Photographing?
Yep.
So you went through a process before the government says we will pay you money to watch children.
To get my license, you go through that process.
That's right. To get your license as a child care provider, you must go through this process.
Yes, ma'am.
She didn't go through the process.
Okay.
So nobody has to tell you that she's not permitted to take care of the children.
No.
I'm telling you that unless you are vetted by the state so that you can get a license, you can't give over the care of 4 children to somebody else.
I understand that now.
Good. What happened next?
Well, I haven't even gotten to the beginning of that day because I would like to tell you the whole day.
I want you to tell me what happened when you left the children in a car. That's what this is all about.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, then get there.
Okay. On the day of question, I picked her children up. I went to the county building, had some paperwork to drop off for my father. I take care of my father, who is terminally ill, dying of cancer. After that, I went and picked up Gloria McMillan to watch the children for me. On the way home, I stopped past the party store. Getting out of the car, I said, guys, you guys wait right here. I'm going to run in the party store real quick, let my daughter pick out her party invitations. And we proceeded into the store. I left her children in the car. And on my way out of the car...
Where was she?
She went into the store to speak to a friend of hers that worked at the register in the store.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 2 now.
The daughter who was picking up?
Yeah. I have a very bright 2-year-old.
Just a second.
What 2-year-old would be in?
I'll give you this last opportunity. Then you're going out. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let me understand this. First, you went to take care of some business for your father, who you take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And you took the children with you.
Mm-hmm.
Had this lady been watching the children yet?
No, she was not with me.
Just a second. Who was with the children when you dropped the paperwork off?
I was with the children.
Did they come into the county building with
Actually,
you?
no, they stayed outdoors and played. I never thought any of this to be a problem at all, Miss Linton.
Well, Miss Burks, it's a problem. That's what we're doing now. I'm going over the day.
I understand.
I'm going over the day because it's getting worse as we go forward.
No, this is already worse. I understand what I did was completely wrong.
Well, if you understand that, then Miss Burks, I don't quite understand why you're here. Because from what I read in the complaint...
Miss Linton is slandering my name.
Just a second. If what you're telling me is you picked up her children and you had your 2-year-old in the car, you went to the county building. Did you take your 2-year-old inside with you?
To the county building, yes, ma'am, and her son.
Shh. And her 12-year-old or
No,
her 1-year-old?
Her littlest son. They stay outside and play basketball.
You went inside and you took your 2-year-old and her 1-year-old into the county building. And her other 3 children stayed outside alone.
And played on the playground.
I don't care where they played. They stayed outside alone.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you come back to the car and you went and picked up this lady.
Yes.
And then 2 adults, your daughter, went inside to a store and you left her 4 children in the car, including the 1-year-old.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long were you in the store?
Maybe 5 minutes.
So that's what the case is about. It was the next day that she called and gave you notice.
Right, but that's not what she called me and said the next day.
What did she call you and say the next day?
She called me on the phone. When I answered, I said, hello. She says, I'm giving you a 2-week notice because you have a problem with my son. I said, no, ma'am, I don't have a problem with your son. Your son is a child. You're a liar.
No. Listen to me. Miss Linton, don't speak to her. Okay, go ahead.
I said, no, ma'am, I don't have a problem with your son. Your son is a child. Your son has a problem with following adult supervision. And this is not the first incident that I had an issue with her son. I said to her, your children were throwing rocks, and I asked them to stop. When I asked them to stop, her son looked over at me and said, I'm not throwing rocks, just like that, with a handful of rocks. So I said, I'll just call your mom. When I called her on the phone, she said, let me see if I can remember her exact words. They know I don't play that. I'm going to beat them when they get home. I said, okay, I'm just letting you know it's not acceptable in my house. People have nice things around here. I don't want to be responsible for anything that happens. And that was it. We got off the phone. Later that evening, I had to have my father rushed to the hospital. I was under a lot of stress. Her kids were still outdoors, not paying me any mind, not listening to anything I said. And when she got there, you could see the agitation in her face, you know.
Where does your father live?
He lives with me.
Ms. Burks, your plate is too full.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Now, when you accept the responsibility, taking care of someone else's children, you have to take care of them sometimes better than their own parents take care of them.
I did.
No. Listen to me. If you have 5 children,
I made a very big mistake, and I would never do it again.
You have 5. Listen to me. I'm not even going there. The car, totally, 100% unacceptable. And she had every right to call Child Protective Services and say, you left 4 children in the car, including a 1-year-old child, and I'm complaining about that.
I never said she was wrong about that. What she's wrong about is that she wants to point the finger at me when she's a bad mother herself. She leaves her children home daily.
Miss Burks, listen to me. If we were involved in some other forum, I would say to you, fine, we can vent upon who's a better mother, who's a bad mother, who's a good mother. We're here because you sued her for 2 things. For money for child care and for filing a false report to Child Protective Services. Whether she's a good mother, whether she's a bad mother, whether she's a wicked stepmother, whatever she is, she did the right thing by calling Child Protective Services to report that you had left the children alone. Your plate is very full. When you accept children into your home as a child care provider, you're supposed to do more with those children than just be a body there. You're supposed to play with them. You're supposed to provide them with activity. With
Are you asking me if I did these
listen
things,
to
or
me.
you just told me what I'm supposed
What
to
I'm
do?
telling you is, if you have a 2-year-old toddler yourself and a father who is terminally ill with cancer that you're caring for in your home, it is impossible to set up a home, your home, to be an appropriate and adequate child care provider.
Well,
So,
Judy, that's your opinion. I disagree. And my father was not diagnosed with lung cancer when I took care of her children. Through the process of taking care of her children, he was diagnosed with lung cancer.
you told me the story, madam. You said I had to drop some papers off for my father who was dying of cancer, who I was also caring for. You told that to me.
But you're saying to me...
I'm saying to
that
you,
in general,
with
or
your
that
own
day?
children, that day.
Okay, yes, ma'am, okay.
That day, that's all you need is one day. That's all you need is one day to miss a child. You know, they missed a couple of children on another coast, and they ended up in the trunk of a car.
I actually investigated myself. There's a lot of bad things that happen to children that get left in cars, and I'm very aware of it.
Absolutely. Ended up in trunks of a car, and they didn't get them in time.
Do it again.
So what
I would never do it again.
So you don't belong in court, Miss Burks?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Miss Linton is going around town saying bad things about me. I am not a bad person.
Just a second. If you have information or witnesses that she's saying anything about you scandalous that have to do with other than your child care abilities, I'll be more than happy to hear witnesses to that.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know what, if she's saying things about you, about your personal life, that you have a disease, that you're a thief.
No, she's just basically in a nutshell saying that I'm a bad person. Her exact words was that I'm not cracked up to all that I'm supposed to be.
Listen to me. That's her opinion. And she can say that, and not all speech is actionable in a court. What you did as a child care provider was wrong, so you have no basis to sue her for either the money that you claim she owes you or for calling Child Protective Services. None. She's got a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is that she left your 4 children in the car.
Yes.
Were any of them hospitalized?
No, they weren't hospitalized.
Just listen to me. I have questions. Any of them treated by a physician that day or the next day?
No.
Okay, so they suffered no injury. Who are you?
I had the kids the following day, and the 1-year-old was throwing up 2 to 3 times.
You're a liar. And I have never seen this one before. She did not have the 1-year-old the next day. I kept her son overnight.
I am a licensed.
I kept her son overnight.
I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. So far, you have no case.
That's fine. I don't care if I don't have a case.
Good.
She will not sit here on national TV and lie about me. I kept her son overnight, you liar.
Miss Burks, I've already explained in a calm fashion why I'm dismissing your case.
That's fine.
Miss Linton,
Yes.
you have no counterclaim against her. You have no proof that her actions caused illness to any of your children. You were perfectly within your rights to take them out of her care.
Her illness
And
was
I'm speaking.
nasty.
I'm speaking. And you were perfectly within your rights to call Child Protective Services to report the neglect. Other than that, you have no claim against her because her actions, while they placed your children in potential harm's way, did not cause any injury to your children. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all. Step out.
Harm's way every day.
He's a liar.
Home alone.
Liar.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's it.
Bernice Fallick is suing her granddaughter's ex-boyfriend, 25-year-old Marvin Watson, for unpaid loans and collect calls from jail.
This is your granddaughter.
Yes, it is.
Your first name is?
Nicole,
Who do you live with, Nicole?
I live on my own right now, Your Honor.
Where were you living when you were involved with Mr. Watson?
I was living at my grandmother's house, Your Honor.
How old are you?
I'm 24 years old, Your Honor.
What do you do for a living, Nicole?
I'm a hostess.
Hostess
Your
where?
Honor. At the Outback Steakhouse.
For how long?
I've been with that company, Your Honor, for 8 years.
So you have a responsible job?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have any children?
No, Your Honor.
Perfect. So you have no children, you have a responsible job.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ever had any trouble with drugs, alcohol?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
So far, is all that correct, Miss Fowler?
Absolutely, yes, Your Honor.
She only had 1 lapse.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes. Your Honor, I have to say, otherwise my mom will kill me, that she loves you. Now we can go on.
Thank you.
Very much. More than you, actually. Grandma, she wishes that was her mom. She would have done better in life. Okay, anyway.
All right, Miss Fallick.
Yes.
This is what your lawsuit is about. Mr. Watson somehow wangled his way into your granddaughter's heart,
Yes.
and then he went off to jail.
Yes.
For what?
For violating a restraining order.
What kind of restraining order?
And no contact
No contact with who?
with my daughter's mom.
And she got a restraining order because you were abusive?
No.
Because you were stalking her?
No.
Well, how did she get a restraining order?
She didn't want me to see my daughter.
How many times did you violate the restraining order?
Just once.
How badly did you violate it?
I went to the daycare and picked up my daughter.
So you had an order that said you weren't allowed to go near the child unsupervised as well.
Until I appeared in court. Yes.
And you didn't like somebody telling you what to do.
Yes.
Got it. I'm just trying to develop the personality here. Now, Mr. Watson, was that the first time you were ever incarcerated? What word didn't
No.
you understand, Mr. Watson? Was that the first time you were ever incarcerated?
No, it's not.
What were you incarcerated for previously, sir?
For assault.
Assaulting who?
Someone I don't know.
A stranger?
Yep.
Where did you assault this stranger?
At a bar.
All right. Now, did the mother of your child allege, I didn't say you did it, but did the mother of your child allege that you also assaulted her?
No.
That you threatened her?
No.
She just said, I want a restraining order, and didn't allege anything.
Yes.
Well, we sort of, You know, in the family court where I used to work, we used to give out those restraining orders where there was no proof, nobody asked for anything. We'd have every other Monday. We just said, anybody wants a restraining order, you come on in, you don't have to say anything. We just give them out. Now, how long were you incarcerated for, sir?
For 2 years.
You were incarcerated for 2 years for violating a restraining order?
Oh, well, the first time when I got arrested, for the restraining order, I was only in jail for 3 months.
2 years for an assault?
Yeah.
Must have been a pretty bad assault. And the second time you were in jail for 3 months. That must have been some violation. And while you were in jail, Miss Fallick says she did everything that she could to make it easier for you. You called her house 2-3 times a day, collect. And how much was your phone bill?
A total of $563.
Is that for the 3 months?
It was 3.5 months.
3.5 months. And then she gave her granddaughter money so that she could put the money in your bank account because you didn't like the prison food.
Yes.
Tell me what he said to you.
His exact words were, I'm losing weight. I cannot eat the prison food. I need to buy food in the wherever. I don't know anything about prison.
Commissary.
And also, he said he needed toiletries, and he played on my sympathies. I really felt sorry for him. And he asked for $20 a week, which I gave him all the time he was in jail. And he said to me, I have $4,000 in the bank. When I come out, I will pay you. And I hear his words in my ears, I will pay you back. Also, one other thing I did. The night he was arrested, he called my house. He asked if we could please pick up his keys at the jail and bring his car, because he was afraid it would be vandalized, and bring his car to my development and put it in my parking spot, which I did until he came out.
How much did that cost you each month?
I broke it down. It was $45 a month, but December, he came out around December 18th. I just did half, and that came out to $157.50.
And the $20 a week, how much was that, Miss Fallick?
$260.
You used to go to visit him?
Yes, Your Honor. I went a few times to visit him. That's when I would go to leave the money on the books, Your Honor. I would do that all on the same day, Your Honor.
Well, what happened when he got out of jail?
He got out of jail, Your Honor, and he did make an attempt. He paid my grandma $31. He said that was his tips that he made for moving, Your Honor. And then after that, Your Honor, he said that we're not getting the rest of our money and to take him to court.
Why is that, Mr. Watson?
I never agreed to paying Miss Fallick back or Nicole back any money. I never asked any of them for the money that they was giving me. Nicole offered to help me out. Nicole said that don't worry about any of the costs, it's inexpensive. I don't owe them anything. She was being nice out of the kindness of her heart. I never asked them for anything.
Who's kind hearts?
Out of hers and her grandma's, I guess. I never asked them for anything, not one dime.
Did you have to, sir, give permission to have the jail authorities turn over your car keys to Nicole and or her grandmother? Or do you think that the jail turned over your car keys to anybody who said, I came for his car keys? Do you know what I'm talking to you about? Do you know what I'm saying to you? You will not think faster than I, Mr. Watson. You are not that smart. When you were incarcerated, they came and picked up your car keys. Now, do you think that the prison authorities just turn over your car keys to anybody who walks in and says, I want Watson's car keys?
No.
So you had to have given permission for one or both of them to come and get your car keys. Is that right?
I didn't just turn over my car keys.
Just a second. Just answer my question.
Yes.
Now, what were they supposed to do with your car?
Nicole was, my mother was picking up my car.
They would not have turned over your car keys to these two ladies if your mother was supposed to come and pick up your car, because I got news looks like them.
Okay.
You get me?
I get you.
I don't like liars, Mr. Watson. I don't like criminals, I don't like liars, and when there's a combination, it's deadly. Miss Fallick is not telling me any sort of a lie when she said that she spoke to you and you said you don't like the prison food, you're losing weight. Now, she may have been operating out of the goodness of her heart. I think she was.
So why would I?
I think she was.
For toilet paper, they give you toilet paper in there. She just said that I said I didn't have any toilet paper? They
No, not toilet paper. Not toilet
What did she
paper.
say when she said?
I'm going to tell you what she said, sir.
Okay.
No, you got to go to a little advanced education. There's a difference between toilet paper and toiletries.
Okay.
Mr. Smarty Pants.
Okay.
You know the difference?
I know now. You just told me.
Well, what are toiletries? Did you make an error in judgment, Nicole?
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't repeat it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $980. That's all.
19-year-old Ashley Miller is suing her aunt, Shauna Miller, for repossessing her car. Shauna claims Ashley didn't abide by the terms of their agreement.
Okay. Very complicated story. Let me see if I can simplify it because it's getting late in the afternoon and I'm getting a little tired. This is your aunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Who did a very nice thing for you several months ago.
Yes, ma'am.
And agreed to purchase a car. She was primarily responsible on the loan. You were a co-signer on the loan because you didn't have good credit.
Yes, ma'am.
You went shopping. You put $1,000 of your hard-earned money down on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave your aunt $1,000 towards insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car did you buy?
It was a 2007 Hyundai Accent.
And it was brand new?
Yes. Only had 5 miles on it.
And when did you purchase it?
February 8th.
And the understanding was that you were going to make the payments on the car and eventually, hopefully, get the loan out of your aunt's name because she didn't want to be responsible for this thing. And you were going to take care of the car, and there were certain things that you were supposed to be responsible with.
Yes, ma'am, after 6 months.
And your aunt took the car back after 2 months.
Correct.
You want the money that you invested in the car, and you want $600 back for the insurance that wasn't used because she took the car back. So you want back $1,600. Your aunt says that you were irresponsible with the car. In the 2 months that you had the car, you put on how many miles?
3,400.
3,400 miles. Where did you go for 3,400 miles?
Well, I went back and forth to work, and I did go to my friend's house. I went over to their house because they asked me to come visit them every day. So I tried. I went back and forth to school every day after work because I go to school 4 days a week.
Where do you work?
Oh.
In what country? Now, did you loan the car to anyone?
No, ma'am.
Did you make any long trips?
I did one long trip, and that was to West Virginia.
From where?
From my house.
Which is where?
Maryland.
Who did you go with?
I went with my 2 sisters because they were up here visiting from Florida.
Did they ever drive your car?
No, ma'am.
Was there any damage to the car?
No, ma'am, not when I had it.
When did you take the car back, Miss Miller?
May 4th.
So she had the car 3 months?
Close to, yes.
Why did you take the car back?
Well, one of the agreements was that she was to stay in touch with us. She was not to have anybody in the car. She was on our insurance because the insurance was in excess to what she could afford. So we turned around.
Just a minute. Did
okay.
you have an agreement with her that there wasn't to be anyone else in the car?
Prior to signing of anything, yes. I've had the same agreements. I've got my daughter here, Sherry, who is under the same agreement with a car that we have. And also with my other children. I have a 30-year-old son and a 28-year-old daughter. I've done it with all of them. You know, with the same agreements. I know, good heart, but you know what? It builds character and shows them responsibility. And yeah, I've been batting.
Did you have an agreement with your aunt not to have anyone else in the car?
No, ma'am.
What was the discussion that you had with regard to having other people in the car?
No, ma'am. The only agreement that we had with the car was not to let anybody drive the car and to make sure I make the payments on the car, and that was it.
Not to let anybody else drive it?
Yes, to drive it. That was it.
I believe you.
That was it.
I believe you.
Thank you.
I believe her. Because I think it's ridiculous to have an agreement that nobody else can be in the car.
Well, okay.
I believe that you made an agreement with her that nobody else was to drive the car.
Well, actually, well, okay.
But not be in the car. That sounds unreasonable for somebody who's making payments on the car, who's given you the down payment and paid for the insurance. The insurance may not cover anybody else driving the car,
right?
But certainly being a passenger in the car. Why not? Keep going. So, she didn't keep in touch with you, and?
She didn't keep in touch, and when I tried to call her, she was avoiding the calls. I had to go through my father-in-law to call her to call back. My husband and I went up to her place of employment to where we looked at the car. There was dents, 4 of them going down this way, not like a car had opened and hit it. The dents were going this way. And
you have pictures of the dents?
Oh, I do, yes.
I'd like to see the dents that you're talking about.
dents. I've got an estimate also.
No, I don't need an estimate.
Okay, that's the dents.
Those are dings. There's a ding. It's a ding. It's nothing. You had no right to take the car back.
Okay.
So your counterclaim's dismissed because you're counterclaiming. You say you're now stuck with a car.
Hold on, Your Honor.
I didn't ask you anything. You're now stuck with a car that has 3,400 miles on it. It's depreciated. Well, you know, as soon as you drive a car out of a lot, it depreciates. But as long as she was making the payments, was she?
Yes, she was.
And she paid for the insurance.
Yes, she did.
The car looks perfectly good shape to me. It may have a couple of dings on it. That's unfortunate. But that doesn't look as if it's been in an accident. You had no mileage requirements. You have no basis to take the car back. Yes?
We did have mileage requirements, and the reason why she wasn't allowed
No, you didn't.
Yes, we did. We made an agreement with her.
Show me it written down someplace that you had a mileage agreement with her.
It was to keep the value of the car up.
Show me where you have an agreement with her that you have a mileage agreement.
It was a verbal agreement.
Baloney.
Just like the part with the insurance.
Baloney.
Until she got it in her own name or her own insurance, she
Baloney. You
wasn't
had no
supposed to have
reason to
anybody
take the
in
car.
it.
Don't speak to me anymore. You had no reason to take the car back. Unfortunately, Miss Miller, you did a very nice thing for your niece.
I thought so.
You probably had second thoughts about it, but you didn't have a basis to breach the agreement and take the car back, her money, or you give her the car back. What's your pleasure?
Can I say something
Sure.
real quick? She assured me that no drinking, no partying, and everything else, and she was drinking and she was partying, but, you know.
Well, show me proof that she was drinking in the car.
Oh, I can't show you
drinking
proof.
and driving.
No.
So,
Okay.
that's what you need. You need proof. Put your hand down. That's what you need. You need proof.
Okay.
Where's the car now?
In my yard.
You want your car back?
Can I speak?
Yes.
The whole drinking thing has nothing to do with it because I didn't do it when I was driving. And the car they gave to her daughter after they took the car from me. After like a week went by and they called me and told me, asked me if I want the car back. And I said no because they already took the car. And after that, I felt like, you know, since they took it from me once, they would do it again.
Did you get another car?
No.
How many miles are on the car now?
There's quite a bit.
What do you mean quite a bit? There was 3,400 miles when you took it. How many miles are on
Well,
the car
I
now?
drove it back and forth to work myself, and my daughter's driving. Okay.
You owe her $1,600. You had no basis to take the car back.
Can I get her to sign off on this title, or how do I have to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can get her to sign off on the title as soon as you get the bank to release her from the loan. Why would I have her sign the title off until you can get her off on the loan?
Okay, I can, yes.
Okay, so we'll cut an order that as soon as you get her off on the loan, she's going to sign off on the title, right?
Yes,
You don't want
ma'am.
the title in your name?
Nope, ma'am.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff, the amount of $1,600. Thank you.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Brandon Book says his mother, Mary Nixon, owes for a title loan on a car and for a loan to pay court fines.
Please.
Mr. Book, the defendant is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint alleges that she owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
One from a loan, the other from another loan that you took out against your car in order to buy your mother a car.
Yes, ma'am.
Car that she ultimately surrendered, owing money on it, and you're paying substantial amounts of money for the time that she, in fact, had the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother says that while she acknowledges that you did some nice things for her, she said that all of that were gifts that you made to her, and she is counterclaiming. She alleges that you gave away some property that belonged to her deceased husband, who was not your father. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And also a wedding ring that she wants back. Okay, so tell me about the first loan, sir.
The first loan was for down payment for her car. She came to me on April 27th of 07, and she asked me if, you know, she could go get a car. I took her to a local dealership where her credit qualified her for a car. However, she didn't make enough money to support a car. So they asked me if I would sign for it. The agreement was that she made the payments, and I agreed to it, and so I co-signed for her. However, they needed a down payment. So they asked me if my truck was paid for, and I said yes, it was. So we went to a local financial institution, and they took out the title loan for $2,500. Plus
A title loan,
Yes, ma'am.
which means that your truck was now encumbered.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they asked for an additional $200 deposit for the insurance.
So while we were doing the agreement, we were signing all the paperwork, my mother looked at me and she asked me if, if this was okay. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I will pay you back as soon as I get my VA benefits. I said, yes, ma'am, that's not a problem.
What VA benefits?
When her husband passed away, we went to the local Veterans Affairs office in Lake Charles, and they said that she qualified for some death benefits. So they put all the paperwork in, and they said that she was going to be awarded it.
Did they say how much she would be
No,
getting?
ma'am, they didn't say how much. They gave us like a monthly statement of what she would get. If she got the full amount, $7 a month. If she got the other one, it was like $6.11 a month.
And how much were the car payments a month?
The car payments were $371.
Okay. So you took out this title insurance, and what happened?
What happened is 2 weeks after she got the car, she lost her job. So I had to figure out some way of having to pay it, both my loan, her loan, and supporting everybody, because her and my sister were living in the house along with my wife and my child.
So you have a wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Child, your mother, and sister were living with you.
And at one time we had my other sister and her 2 kids living with us as well.
And who was supporting them?
I was.
It's outrageous.
It's family.
Good boy. What are you saying no for?
Because it's lies.
Well, come up here and tell me what's the lie about it. First, tell me your first name.
My first name is Mary. My last name is Book.
Very good. Uncross your arms. Is it a lie that you lived with your brother?
No, that's not a lie.
Is it a lie that he helped support you?
No, that's not a lie either.
Well, that's what he said.
No, he said that he co-signed for the car, which is a lie.
Listen to me. I'm talking about the car. You said that's a lie. She lived with him. You lived with him. Your other sister, for a period of time, lived with him, and her 2 children. And he was supporting you, because I assume you weren't working. Is that right?
That's right.
Why weren't you working?
Because I had no way to work. Because he got my car, and so my mom took sell my car to buy him the
That's
house.
not true, Your Honor.
I have the check.
Just a second.
They sold my car for $6,000, and that got the down payment to the trailer that he now lives in.
Okay, and when was that?
October of last year.
How long did you live in the trailer where he and his wife and child are living?
They got the trailer in October.
Right.
I moved out in December with my sister.
So you lived there 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Then she came back.
Did you come back?
I moved in to an apartment.
Did you come back?
Later.
When?
March or June.
Was it March or June? Those are very different months.
April, March, somewhere in between there.
And how long did you stay? Until when?
I moved out in March again, and I didn't come back until May. And then I moved in back in May, and then we moved out for good in June.
So you lived there about 6 months altogether. And how long did your mother live there?
The whole time. From October to June.
Oh, then of course she gave him money for the trailer. Did you give him any other money when you lived there?
I gave him some money after the check came in. I paid 2 house notes. I paid a light bill.
So you had a house note?
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to the deposit on the trailer?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. So, other than that, she gave him money because she had you, she had your other sister, she had herself, her sister's 2 children. They lived with him. He's paying a house note, and she gave him a $6,000 deposit on the trailer. Now you can sit down. That's what you're supposed to do. If you and your whole family want to move in with your son and you gave him a $6,000 deposit on a trailer and he's making the house payments on it for you and your family to live in, that's what you're supposed to do.
But, Your Honor, I moved my mobile home I was living in for 14 years off of my property for him to put his mobile home there.
So what?
He told me he would never, ever say anything about me not working. He did not mind me living there because I did this for him.
And I'm telling you, he's not supposed to say that to you. You moved your whole family into the trailer that he was making the payments on. You lived there from October until June. She lived there for 6 months. Your other daughter and her 2 children lived there for 6 months. Who do you expect to pay for that? Every adult pays rent. You're a grown-up. So if you gave him $6,000 at the beginning of your stay, instead of making periodic payments to him, what difference does it make? Look at it that way. But don't make yourself a victim. You're not a victim. Children don't support their 46-year-old parents. Parents support their children. How much money did it cost you when your mother surrendered this truck?
It was the car that she had to surrender, Your Honor. It didn't cost me anything. I tried to tell her about it. I went to her work with this document right here showing that if she surrenders the car, that they would give us a 0 deficiency on the auto loan. So I approached her at work with this, And when I approached her at work, she got really defensive about it. And when I told her, I said, look, all you got to do is just surrender the car. They'll give you a zero deficiency. We don't owe anything, but they don't owe us. We don't owe them. It's like it never happened. She refused. She immediately responded back saying that that's it. You have 10 days to get that trailer off my land, and I'm cutting your lights off.
So tell me what happened with the car. Did you surrender
Yes,
the car?
I did.
When?
The next Wednesday.
So what money are you out, Mr. Book?
The title loan on my vehicle. Well, in order to get her car, we had to put a down payment. That's where the title loan on my vehicle came on for her car.
I see. And the title loan was for how much?
$2,500.
So that you're not out any money for the loan, but you are out money for the title loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you actually took that money and put it down as a down payment. That's why you had no money that was owing if she turned the car in.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand. All right, now I'm ready to hear you, Miss Nixon. He's out $2,500 because you couldn't make the payments on the car.
Okay, whenever I got the car, he came, woke me up one morning and said, Mama, you want a car? And I'm like, well, I would like one, but I can wait for my money to come in. Because I didn't want a car note, really, because I really didn't make enough for a car note and insurance and everything else. So I said, I'll wait. And he goes, well, Mom, I got him on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And I'm like, Brandon, I don't want a car right now.
That's not true.
It would be nice to have a car.
Just a second. You know what happens, unfortunately, Miss Nixon, to some people when they're telling a lie? They get blotches on their
I know,
chest.
I just get nervous.
No. A man that's supporting a wife and child and supporting a sister and another sister and two children and a mother who I'm sure doesn't make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, doesn't come in and twist his mother's arm to get a car. Baloney. You're not supposed to put your children in debt because you don't work. That's not what mothers are supposed to do.
I did not want the car. I told him I would wait.
Then you shouldn't have taken it. You're 46 years old.
He went to the car dealership and said, I'm going to...
Just a second. Without you?
He went with me.
Did he drag you there? Miss Nixon, did he drag you there?
No, he said he wanted to go pick out him something.
Miss Nixon, you are so full of baloney. You owe him $2,400 first for that. What else does she owe you for, sir?
Whenever she was in Washington State, she was supposed to be gone for only a week and a half. She had two jobs, working at Walmart and working at Sears. She went to Washington on a one-way ticket to see my friend, and she was gone.
What was she doing seeing your friend?
They were talking on MySpace kind of thing. And
so a boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
She was grieving and went to see a boyfriend. How long was she gone?
She was gone for 3 months.
3 months? This was, I assume, before she got the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And I was contacted by a Sergeant Mouton of the Calvary Parish Sheriff's Department looking for her. I was then like, what does she do now? So I call her, tell her what's going on. Apparently she had had some checks that she had written back $6.97 for very little, like $25, $30, however they just caught up with her. And they were looking for her to satisfy those checks. Then when she came back, I still supported her, tried to get her through the hard times. She just didn't take the hint, and I was getting really tired of it.
How much money did it take to clear the checks?
$150.
Did you tell your mother about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Who cleared the checks, you or your mother?
I did.
Where was she when you cleared the checks?
Being arrested at the time.
Is that right?
Well, not exactly. Like, I'm,
She's not a horrible mother.
No.
Did he pay $150 to
From
get
selling the cabinets that he sold out of my house. I was upset at him. He gave away everything.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Everything in my house. He gave away my cabinets.
Just a second. Give me the month and year he gave away.
February.
February of what year?
Of this year.
And when did you move out of the trailer?
I moved out in July.
You couldn't have been that upset.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not going to disown my child. I'm not going to do that to him.
You couldn't have been that upset. If he gave away the stuff in February, you didn't sue him. March, you didn't sue him. April, you didn't sue him. May, you didn't sue him. June, you didn't sue him. July, you didn't sue him. August, you didn't sue him. September, you didn't sue him. So if he gave away your stuff, he gave away your stuff. What's next?
The ring.
Whose ring is it?
Mine.
It's actually ours.
No, it's mine.
Well, how did his wife end up with the ring?
I told her and him that I would let them use my ring as a token of because it was special to me.
Just a minute, you told them that you would let them use their ring?
Until he could buy one for her. And if they broke up and she moved out, that I was to get the ring. Yes, ma'am, I'm honored.
Fine. But first of all, A, I don't believe you. Because I think that that's a lot of baloney that you just told me. But B, even if what you told me was true, let's see what you just said. You said you are letting them use the ring until he can buy her a new one, which he can't. Or until they break up, which they have not. Or if she moves out, which she has not.
But she did in between this time.
Oh, tell me when.
She moved out.
Just tell me when.
She moved out during the summertime.
Did you sue her then?
No, I didn't.
Goodbye, Miss Nixon. You got a problem. You owe your son $2,550. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Store manager Stephen Burnley is suing his ex-fiancée, Courtney Belluccio, for a credit card and rent.
Order. All rise.
Yes, case number 263 on the calendar in the matter of Burnley versus Belluccio. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Burnley, according to what I've read, the defendant was your former fiancée. She lived with you for a period of time. You claim that she owes you for two things. First, for rent for several months that she lived there and she didn't pay you rent. And second, for a credit card loan that you paid off for her and that she agreed to repay. The defendant says that while she was there was not an agreement for rent, that in quite the opposite, she was really treated more like a maid than anything else. She cooked and cleaned and took care of you and your children and the house. And in addition, while she does acknowledge that there was a loan for her credit card debt that she had, she says that she agreed to leave certain items at the house when she left that more than cover the balance of the loan, some of which she had already paid to you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burnley, when did you start to date Miss Belluccio?
February of 1998.
And in February of, because I've read these papers very carefully, in February of 1998, sir, you were married.
Yes.
And how old were you?
36.
And how old was Miss Belluccio?
19.
Is that right?
I was 18.
And where did you meet her?
I work.
What kind of work did you do?
Convenience store.
What were you doing at the convenience store?
I was her boss.
So you were her boss. She was 18 years old. She was going to school?
Yes.
College?
Yes.
And she was working besides? Going to school full time?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been separated from your wife?
10 years almost.
Are you divorced now?
No, not yet.
Why not?
Long story. She was supposed to pay for the divorce.
I have time, sir.
Okay.
And it's a long story,
Yeah.
but I guarantee it's not
It was
such
a matter
long
of
story.
principle that she would, when we had split up, she had taken all the furniture and stuff like that, and she was supposed to pay for a divorce, and that she never did.
Stubborn sucker, aren't you?
Yes.
You have children?
Yes.
How old are they?
11 and 12.
Now, when did Miss Belluccio move in with you?
July of 1999.
And did you become engaged at that time?
No.
When did you become engaged?
I do not remember approximately. She asked me to marry her first, and at that time I said that I believe she should be at least 25 before she gets married, so she knows what she's getting into.
And did you ever change your story?
I asked her to marry me a couple of years later.
Did you give her a ring?
Yes.
And you're still not divorced?
Correct.
How did you plan to carry that out, sir?
I procrastinate, but I believed that I would have it done before we would get married.
That's usually the way things go.
Right.
I want you to tell me about this rent that you claim she owes you.
In July of 99, I purchased a home. I did not believe it was a good idea for her to move in at that time, but it happened that way. The agreement was, though, that at that time the living expenses cost $800.
What were the living expenses?
Well, the mortgage was $550, electric, phone, stuff like that. They came to approximately $800. She did agree to pay $400. Which
Why would she pay off your mortgage? Was the house in her name?
I wouldn't call it paying my mortgage. It was half the living expenses.
She was living with you, and I assume sharing your bed. Right?
Correct.
Who took care of the chores around the house?
She did.
Didn't you think you were a little old for her, Mr. Burnley?
Yes.
Didn't you think that a guy who's 36 years old and married should have nothing to do with an 18-year-old girl who's working, going to school, trying to do the right thing? She want to get hooked up with you for it. You can't even get yourself off the horse after 10 years.
She told me age didn't matter to her.
She told you age didn't matter. She's 18 years old. You're a grown man. Age matters. There are a lot of things that matter that people say don't matter. They matter. It is your statement that you did not have an agreement with him for rent. Is that right?
There was no formal agreement. There were times when we did say, give what you can. There were times when Stephen had 2 roommates where he didn't expect a penny from me. And then there were times we actually did, in September of 2003, have a formal rent agreement.
Okay. What was your agreement?
That I would pay him $300 and that I would pay for groceries.
Okay, and when did you move out?
November of 2003, at the end.
Okay, so for 3 months.
Correct. I always contributed to the household, whether it be projects or whether it be I paid for all the groceries. There may have been 1 month in the 4 years that we lived together that Stephen bought groceries. But I did all the household chores, and I assisted him with several projects. I have pictures of his whole house has been changed. I paid for a lot of those things.
Like what?
Painting. I helped him paint. We did the whole back patio, and I paid for several flowers to go in the ground, at least $250 a summer. I paid for flowers, and several of those flowers have come back.
So you treated the house as if it was going to be your home?
That is what Stephen told me at all times. That he offered one of the roommates money, $7 per hour, to help him work on a project. And I questioned, why aren't you offering me money to help you work on these projects? And he said to me that half of this will be yours someday.
I'm listening.
That part's not true about putting in flowers. I always had told her, don't put flowers in, you can't afford it, you're going to school. She'd also bought clothes for my children, which I told her not to do.
So she was a nice person?
Yes.
When you were together?
Yes, she did a lot.
Tried to hold up her end of the financial bargain while you were together.
Right.
And then some.
That's correct, which I told her all along.
So why are you here suing her for rent?
Principal.
Someone who proposes marriage to a girl half his age while he's still married shouldn't talk about principle.
She came to me and told me that she had a credit card that she had, I don't know if it was maxed out, but it was very high interest. It was killing her paying the payments. So I decided to take a bank offer loan that I'd had and pay off that credit card, and it was at 2%.
How much did you give her to pay off the credit?
$5,176.
And how much did she pay back? How much did you pay back?
I paid back $3,890.
And you claim that you don't owe anything on this because why?
When I moved out in November of the end of November 2003, I told Stephen when I was leaving that I'm going to leave some things behind. If I'm going to write my estimated value next to it, I'd like you to write what you feel is a fair value next to it, and we'll agree upon a value and we'll take that off the balance. And he agreed.
Can I please see the list that you prepared of the things that you left behind? Well, let me tell you this. Some of this is nonsense. A bicycle. Now that's $100. Kitchen table and 4 chairs.
Sits in the basement. Told her she could take it. Would she need it?
2 dining room chairs.
In my basement.
You have any use for these things?
No.
You can go get these things because he doesn't want them, but you don't get credit for them. Okay. You agreed to pay him back the money. You owe him $1,500. That's all. Your lawsuit, sir, is seeking over $3,000. I think you're a little out of line. I think you're out of line with the rent. I don't think that you had an agreement other than the defendant has already acknowledged that is an agreement for 3 months. I believe her when she says she paid you the rent for the 3 months, September, October, November. That's it. You lived together for how many years?
4.
4 years? Get over this list. Get over it, unless you want any of this stuff. If you want any of this stuff, it's in his basement. I'll make an order that you can go pick it up. Do you want it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. She's going to come and pick up all this junk within 5 days of the date of this hearing, and she owes you $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think his real motivation is that he's simply angry with me.
I procrastinate a lot, so she probably figured I wouldn't try to collect it.
We had just completely grown apart. We wanted different things on a daily basis from life.
I was just in no hurry to get married again, I guess.
It was all on principle. He was planning on getting a divorce, and ironically, after I left, he initiated one.
Twentis is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Peterson, for a bounced rent check and the resulting fees.
Miss Davis, you and Mr. Peterson lived together for a period of time. He was your boyfriend. Your financial arrangement was that you would give him your half of the rent check, he would put in his half of the rent, and pay the landlord. But according to you, you gave him your half of the rent for October of 2006. You had an argument somewhere at the beginning of October where you called the police and had him removed from the house. And he left. He left and he closed the bank account on which this check was drawn, so the check bounced. You remained in the apartment and were forced, according to you, to pay the entire rent, including his half of the rent. Mr. Peterson says, through really no fault of his own, you weren't getting along, you'd had an argument, you went to the police, you had him removed, he wasn't living there, he doesn't have to pay rent, right?
That's right.
So, Miss Davis, when did you move in together?
May of 05.
And when did this incident occur? October of 06?
Yes.
What day in October?
October 9th, I believe.
Is that right?
That's wrong.
What date?
October 6th.
Now, Miss Davis, you're going to tell me exactly what happened on October the 6th.
On October the 6th, Mr. Peterson went out to my car without my permission, went into my car, grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of my car for himself and one for me as well. I did not ask him to do this. He did not have permission to go out to my car. When he came back and I discovered that he had taken a pack for himself as well, I was a little upset. And I confronted him on it and he lied to me.
What did you say?
I asked him if he had taken the pack, why he had taken it without asking me. And he said that he never took a pack and called me a liar. When I confronted him on it and he lied to me yet again, I got upset and basically told him I was done with the lies in the relationship. And when I told him I was done with the relationship, he didn't take that kindly. He said he was not going to give up on the relationship, that he was not going to leave, he wasn't going to give up on us. And when I told him that he did not have a choice, because I was done, he started punching himself in the face.
Show me how he did that.
He was pacing back and forth in the room that we were talking in and just started pounding on himself.
So?
I got scared and I went over to my friend's house.
Okay, he didn't touch you, he didn't put his hands on you?
No.
Okay, so you left and you went to your friend's house?
Yes.
And?
And the next morning, I was afraid to go home, so I went to the police.
What'd you go to the police for? To take you home?
I did not feel safe to go home with the state of mind that he was in.
Okay, so what did you want the police to do?
To remove him.
Why?
So that I could go home.
Well, it was his home too.
But I was not safe in my own home.
But it was his home.
It was his home too, yes.
So if you're not safe, he hasn't done anything to threaten you. He hasn't done anything to harm you. He hasn't put his hands on you. If anything, he was, according to you, he was hurting himself. He was acting, in a self-destructive way. So if you felt unsafe because you didn't like his mental state, why didn't you just leave?
I didn't feel I should have to pack up everything in the apartment that was mine and leave because he was unstable.
Can I see what you told the police, please?
I filed for an order of protection. I didn't have a police report.
What did you say in the report that gave you an order of protection?
I told them exactly what happened.
No, I can't believe anybody issued you an order of protection based on that. Oh, you lied.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
You said to the police the reason that you were coming to ask for assistance is because he physically threatened you by raising an object over his head to throw it at you and yelled and screamed and called her names.
He had done this prior to this date.
Evicted from the house. You had reason to leave yourself if you wanted to leave, but you had no reason to force him out of the house. None whatsoever. Okay. Mr. Peterson, you want to tell me your version of the events? What happened? First of all, I don't understand this business about going out. You live together, you're sharing a house, you're sharing a bedroom, you have an intimate relationship, and she gets upset because you went out and took 2 packs of cigarettes instead of 1. Did you go out to the car to get a pack of cigarettes for her?
I went out to the car to grab a pack of cigarettes for her. I asked her that night, and she said yes.
He'd never
No, don't speak now. Don't speak. You have to be quiet. Because it's his turn to testify. Did you see how quiet he was when you were testifying? Now it's his turn.
I asked her permission the night before to grab a pack of cigarettes.
Are you on some sort of medication? Listen to me, Miss Davis. Are you on medication?
No.
Then I can speak to you frankly. I said it once. When you were testifying, he was quiet. He didn't interrupt. Now it's your turn to be quiet and allow me to take his testimony. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good.
The night before, I did ask permission to go to her car and get a pack of cigarettes for myself. She was okay with that.
I don't understand why there was this whole big hullabaloo because of the cigarettes, so it must have been something else fomenting in the relationship for a while.
It was because I was also unemployed for at least 3 weeks, and she
was annoyed because you weren't working and weren't buying the cigarettes.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happened when you came inside, Mr. Peterson?
What happened was I came inside. I went to try to get into my bedroom. She had the master bedroom door blocked. I don't know why she had it all blocked, but after an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she had the door open. There was this mysterious odor in the air, as if she was smoking something funky.
Mr. Peterson, did you at any time on the 6th of October threaten Miss Davis?
No.
Did you at any time on the 6th of October pick up an object to throw at her?
No.
Had that ever happened in the past?
No.
Did she give you her half of the rent?
Yes, she did.
For October?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't pay any of the rent?
I did pay the rent. I had my half in my checking account. She gave me her half. When I closed out my checking account, I made sure that all the money was still in the account.
Okay. How much out of pocket are you, Miss Davis?
I'm out $914.
From what?
I gave him $467, plus his half of the rent, plus the late fees and the non-sufficient
His
funds.
half of the rent he's not giving
He's
you.
still on the lease.
I don't care whether he's still on the lease. You threw him out of the house without just cause. You threw him out by lying to the police. And you're not being, listen to me, and you're not being rewarded for that. If you felt unsafe about going back to your home because you felt as if he wasn't acting in an appropriate way, then you go stay with your friend, you stay with your family, you find a new apartment. But you don't lie to the police and have him thrown out. So you're not getting his half of the rent. Period. The money that you gave him, that he is responsible for if you didn't get it back. Now, so my question is, did you get that money back?
I have not seen any money from him.
So how much was his half of the rent?
$363.
And you gave him $467?
I gave him $467.
Why would you give him $467 if his half was $363?
Part of it was supposed to go toward another bill that did not get paid as well.
What bill?
A credit card bill.
Okay, well then that's what he owes you, $467, not $900. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment, and you absolutely didn't have any right to lie to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $467. That's
Do
all.
I get the late fees or anything like that?
Absolutely not, madam. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. None. Zero.
He could have said something, and so I could have covered the rest of the rent before it was late.
He could have said a lot of things. You also should not have gone to the police and perjured yourself. That's all.
Gary Gallahan is suing his daughter, 22-year-old Rachel Gallahan, and her fiancé Oliver Ross for a loan to buy a carpet cleaning van.
Mr. Gallahan, this is your daughter, and this is her boyfriend, fiancé, whatever it is. They have children together?
Correct.
But they're not married, but they live together.
Yes, ma'am.
In any event, according to you, you made a loan to them in order for them to start a carpet cleaning business. You made a loan to them to get a van, because take your hands out of your pockets.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what they needed in order to start their business. You made the loan, they didn't pay, you want your money.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's find out certain things. When did you accept this money from your father?
It was the beginning of December 2008.
And tell me the circumstance surrounding your accepting this money from your father.
We had worked for a company, he had worked for a company, and I worked with the gentleman as a secretary, and the one company that he had started with doing carpet cleaning, they were leaving to Arkansas, and we really didn't want to have to leave and be relocated with our family. So I went to my father and asked him to give me money so that
No, that's not what you said to him. Let's go back a second. You went to your father and you said what?
That I need money to get a carpet cleaning van.
What did your father say to you?
That he would do it.
He would do what?
Give me the money.
No. Lend.
I don't believe that you went to him and said, give me money. That's not what you would do. None of my children would ever come to me, and I have enough to do it, but they wouldn't come to me and say, I want you to give me money to buy a car. None of my children would ever do that. They would come to me and say, Mom, I'm in need of some money. Could I borrow some money from you? Hoping that I might say to them, tell me what you need the money for, and if it's for a good reason, I'll give it to you. Does that sound right to you, Bird?
That's absolutely right.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
All right. So now you and I understand each other.
Yes.
That certain things are Common sense, unless you're a psychotic or a miserable person. Now, you're neither psychotic nor a miserable person, are you?
No.
So you would never go to your father and say, I need to buy a truck, I want you to give me money, right?
Correct.
So then why don't we start all over again like this never happened? You went to your father and said,
Can I borrow money for a carpet cleaning van?
Right. And what did he say to you?
That yes, he would get a loan and he would give me the money.
And what did you say to him?
Thank you.
And how did you make arrangements to pay him?
We never officially...
Don't look over there. Look over here. I'm not talking about officially with the Queen's stamp ring on anything. How was he supposed to repay the loan that he was taking out? He wasn't going into his savings. He was taking out a loan.
Yes.
How were you supposed to put your hand down? I'm not asking you a thing. He's not your father. How are you supposed to pay back this loan?
Yes, clearly in monthly payments, but I never took it into that consent that I was actually going to...
That's hardly English, what you just said to me.
Never thought it completely through, I guess, when I did it.
Well, then that's not my problem that you never thought it completely through. And Loverboy wasn't there. Is that right?
Correct. I went to my father's by myself.
That's right. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We agreed to $300 a month.
When did you agree to $300 a month?
I think I gave him the check on December 4th, sometime shortly after that.
Okay. And did they make any payments towards the loan?
They made $100 or $200, that's about it.
And when did they stop?
Oh, God.
When did she stop? Because right now, he has nothing to do with this loan. He's just standing there and looking miserable.
Probably shortly up January, February, I'm not sure. Because on February, then, she wrote me 3 different checks to cash it separate times. You want to see also the check that I took out, the $9,000?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She said that she wrote me 3 different checks to help make up for the payments in February, there you see. And I took it to the bank, and there was no funds in the bank account at all.
Truthfully, I did that so he would leave me alone. So I took out money from one account to another. I have 2 accounts, so I...
He was making threatening.
Yeah.
He was making
He would-
threats to us daily.
I was not
Coming to
making
my
threats.
He did make threats on my telephone that he hoped that the kids were going to end up in an orphanage when he was going to come tow the truck away that was in my name.
I did say to her.
Sure, just a second.
And
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you pay him his money?
I didn't know that.
Why didn't you pay him his money?
I didn't know there was agreement to pay it back.
You're full of baloney. You're full of baloney. You think that he gave it to you because he just thinks you're a nice guy? He doesn't have that kind of money, clearly. He had to take out a loan to get it. Why didn't you pay him back his money?
That's one reason I did give him the 100 because I was.
Why didn't you pay him back his money?
Well, I didn't have $9,000 to give back.
He
to him
wasn't
the same
asking
day.
you for $9,000. He was asking you for payments.
Sure. Well, he never asked me. I never talked to him. I don't talk to them. They talk to Rachel. But from what I know, I'm normally.
Then, listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you earning any money carpet cleaning with the van that he bought?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were making money, and you were feeding yourself?
So I could work. Yes, ma'am.
You were putting a roof over your head?
Yes, ma'am.
Forget her.
Sure.
Forget the children. This is his daughter. You are nothing. Then you have to pay him back. You have to pay your father back.
If he had ever come to me strictly and said, you know, there's an agreement to pay, but we had never arranged the agreement together.
Then your girlfriend, and I'm not even saying why, your girlfriend lied to you. Now, is there any reason why you and the lovely Miss Goulahan have not married? Yeah, there are a couple of
Probably
reasons.
my fault.
There were a couple of reasons, okay? When you were without funds,
Sure.
was there any state money coming into your house? My question is a simple one. When you were without jobs, was there any state money coming into your house?
When we were first together, yes, ma'am.
When the children were born?
Yes, ma'am. I stopped that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Very temporarily.
Did you ever pay back the state? Did the state know you were living together?
Yes.
Oh, I doubt that. You owe your father this money, madam. He doesn't owe him anything because the contract was made with you.
Is there a contract?
Yes, there is a contract.
Where? In all due
Right
respect.
here.
Okay.
Right
okay.
here.
Okay.
In my mouth. There's an offer
right.
and an acceptance. And there was consideration paid. The consideration was he took out a loan. The agreement was your girlfriend, the mother of your children, would pay back the loan monthly. That was the contract. It was an oral contract. That's why we're here. If it was a written contract, it would be much easier, and I wouldn't have a television program that makes me highly successful. Do we understand each other, sir?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, ma'am.
Very good. Unfortunately for you, sir, the maximum that this court allows me to award you is the $5,000
Yes, ma'am, I
maximum
understand
limit
that.
of the court. You are owed a lot more than that. I hope that your daughter does the right thing and doesn't become a bum if she doesn't pay you back the rest of the money. That's exactly what she is. Do you understand?
Yes, I would
Do you?
just.
Good.
Most
Thank you
fathers
very
take
much.
you to
That's
college.
all.
Ray Wood claims ex-girlfriend Mindy Golden had him falsely arrested for burglary. Mindy is countersuing, claiming Ray made false allegations to Child Protective Services.
Mr. Wood, this lady used to be your girlfriend, and I would assume that the person standing on your side is your brother. Is that right?
Yes.
It is your claim, Mr. Wood, that the defendants falsely reported that you were burglarizing their home, causing you to be arrested. You spent money on attorneys, and you want to be compensated for their false reporting of this burglary. Miss Golden and her brother say that you actually were in their home without permission, which is a burglary. They say that you retaliated by calling Child Protective Services and claiming that the two of them were using drugs in front of their children, in front of your children.
Right.
And in addition, Ms. Golden is counterclaiming because she said because of your action, she was fired from her job. She wants to be compensated for her lost wages. When did this unholy alliance begin?
June 2004.
Did you live together?
No.
Ever?
No.
Did you ever stay over?
Occasionally.
How many times a week, Mr. Wood?
Once, maybe twice.
Did you have a key?
At one time, yes.
Would you occasionally go over to the house and answer my question? I don't want you to think of where I'm going, Mr. Wood. All I want you to do is try to tell me the truth.
Okay.
The truth will set you free.
Okay.
Did you ever go over to the house and wait for her to come home?
Yes.
Went into the house by yourself?
Yes.
That happened frequently?
No.
In the course of the year and a half that you were together, did it happen 10 times?
No.
Happened 5 times?
Maybe. Yes.
When you went over there and neither she nor her, prior to February of 2006, did anybody report that you were in the house without permission?
No.
Did you ever take anything that you weren't supposed to?
No, I did not.
Tell me what happened on February 17th, 2006.
It was about 7 o'clock in the evening, 7:15. I was in Binghamton, and I got a call from Mindy stating that her brother had caught me in the trailer. And she said that I didn't have any business being in there because we had broken up the previous week again.
It was longer.
Shh, shh. And what did you say to her?
What's going on? Why are you doing this? I'm in Binghamton. I haven't been in Windsor for over an hour. Why are you doing this? And she said, you were there. I'm going to see you in jail. I'm calling the troopers, and slammed the phone down.
Okay. Miss Golden, were you at home?
No, I was at work.
Your brother was at home?
Yes.
Your first name, sir?
Kevin.
Do you remember what day of the week the 17th of February was?
Remember the day? No, I don't.
Do you?
Yes, Tuesday.
Do you remember what time she called you?
7:45.
In the evening?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Golden. I want you to tell me what happened on the 17th of February.
Yeah, I went out to eat.
No, look at me.
Oh, I went out to eat with my girlfriend. Came home from dinner. Proceeded to enter in the door. And when I bumped into Ray coming out as I was coming in.
He was coming out.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
Just nothing. We were just both like, yeah. And I heard a hissing noise. And that was the propane. So I went to investigate that. And I turned around. By the time I fixed that, he was gone.
What was wrong with the propane?
It was unhooked from the tank. Hooks up to the trailer for heat and cooking.
And it's outside.
Outside, correct.
Now, when you went inside, what did you see?
Nothing really. It was dark.
No, inside the trailer, sir.
Oh, what did I see? Nothing really. He was coming out as I was going in.
Anything missing?
No, not to my knowledge, no.
Anything vandalized?
No.
The only thing unusual that you found was outside the trailer.
Correct.
Mr. Golden, I'm unclear, sir. Was Mr. Wood inside the house or outside the house?
Inside the house, ma'am.
Inside?
Yes.
Is there a key that you used to get inside the house?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you think Mr. Wood got inside the house?
Had his own key?
Did you have a key to the house?
No, I gave it back to Mindy.
I had asked for it back, and it took him a week to give it back to me.
So you got it back?
Yes, I did.
When, Mr. Wood, did you call Child Protective Services on the Goldens?
I didn't hear from the troopers for a week to 10 days on the charge. And so as soon as I left the troopers.
So you filed the charges with Child Protective Services after these charges were filed against you?
Yes.
No.
No?
No. I have
Really?
copies of the
That
reports.
would've- you see,
the day that he was arrested, February 17th, against me and my brother.
after he was arrested. You have to stop trying to figure out where I'm going, madam. You're not that clever. When did you stop being involved in a relationship, Mr. Wood?
February 7th.
Had you been back to the house since February 7th?
No.
So all the information that you had on February 17th when you filed the charges with Child Protective Services, you had on the 7th when you left. Is
Yes.
that right? And I assume you filed the report with Child Protective Services, Mr. Wood, because you were concerned about the child.
Yes.
And you filed those charges indicating that there was drug use in the home.
Yes, I did.
Now, what were you doing between February 7th when you broke up and February 17th?
As far as what? I don't
I
understand.
want to know if you were incapacitated.
Oh, no.
I want to know if you were hospitalized.
No.
So you want to tell me, sir, why you waited from February 17th to report to Child Protective Services something that you must have felt very strongly about this drug use in front of a child, right?
Right.
So explain to me why you waited 10 days.
I thought maybe it would change.
So what told you that it wasn't going to change when they filed these burglary charges against you? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
You mean it was just a coincidence?
I thought maybe.
You mean it was just a coincidence?
Yes.
That the charges were filed on the same day with Child Protective Services as the charges for burglary were filed against you?
Yes.
That's a coincidence, sir, that I find very hard to swallow. Because if someone is legitimately concerned about the welfare of a child, how old is your child?
He's 3 now. He was 2.
About a 3-year-old child that has no voice, then I assume that this drug use has been going on for a long time, right?
Yes.
That you would have reported it immediately, right?
Right.
You chose to wait serendipitously on the same day as you were arrested for burglary to report it to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
That would be unfortunate. Now, let us move on to your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Go.
He had filed another report against myself and my daughter's father. So 2 separate reports to Child
What were you
Protective.
doing with your daughter's father?
Nothing. He doesn't even know my daughter's father.
Well, what did he allege you were doing?
The same thing.
Did you ever smoke marijuana in front of your child?
No, ma'am.
Did your brother?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, you would know that, right?
I would hope so.
Let's get to the counterclaim.
Honestly, I just want him to leave me alone. And I wouldn't have filed the counterclaim if he hadn't done this.
Okay, so you're going to withdraw the counterclaim because you want me to deal with his claim of false arrest?
Please.
Mr. Wood, I believe you were there. How about that?
I wasn't there.
I believe you were. I don't see any other reason, sir. I understand that the grand jury refused to indict you probably because you really didn't do anything while you were there except maybe pull apart the propane so that they would run out of gas. That's what you did. I don't necessarily believe that he saw you inside the house, but I believe that he saw you there. I don't know what you were angry at, but I believe that he saw you there. And I believe that you retaliated, and you retaliated by filing charges against both of them for drug use. I believe that that's an inappropriate way to conduct yourself if you were legitimately concerned about the welfare of an infant. And what you do is you report those concerns immediately to Protective Services, and you don't wait until you have an axe to grind to do it. That's not what Child Protective Services is there for. So I believe that you were there on the 17th of February. I don't think that you were there to burglarize the house. And by the way, Miss Golden, you want him to leave you alone? He better leave you alone. Did you file for a protective order?
Yes, I did. And
Do you have one?
I did. It ran out, but he was leaving me alone, so I didn't renew it.
How long did you have it for?
6 months.
So now he's leaving you alone?
Yes.
Perfect. Let it remain that way. The lawsuit's dismissed, sir. You were there on the 17th of February. I believe you were there. That's all.
Plaintiff Arthur Foltz is suing his daughter, 27-year-old X-ray technologist Jennifer Foltz, for money meant for her wedding. Arthur says Jennifer doesn't want him to be a part of the ceremony.
As case number 120 on the calendar, the matter of Foltz versus Foltz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a younger sister.
How old is she?
She's 26.
And how long ago did your parents divorce?
I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Mr. Foltz, this is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint is that you gave your daughter $3,000 for her wedding.
Yes, ma'am.
And because of circumstances, you decided not to go to the wedding. and you want that money back.
Yes, ma'am.
And your daughter said that this $3,000 was an unconditional gift, and she's already spent it on deposits, etc., for the wedding. When is the wedding scheduled?
May of next year.
Now, how many children do you have, Mr. Foles?
2 children and 2 stepchildren.
And how long have you been married to your second wife?
15 years.
And how old are those children?
21.
21
25.
and 25.
So let's get down to it. You called your dad. You told him you were planning a wedding. You asked him for some help.
I actually didn't ask him for help. He said to me that he felt it was only fair that he pay 50% and that my mother pay 50%.
Well, that was very nice of him. So you had a reasonable relationship with him if he said that to you, at least now?
Up until, until recently, yes.
I want to ask your mother some questions, okay?
Come on up, Mom.
What's your last name?
Bean.
Your daughter told you initially, after she had spoken to her father, and her father agreed to contribute to the wedding, that it was her intention of having both of you walk her down the aisle?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were not happy with that?
It was not I was okay with it. I was fine with it. I was just worried that his animosity may create some problems.
Did you convey that to your daughter?
I already knew that.
Just a minute. That's not what I asked.
Yes, I did.
I'm asking you these questions, Jennifer, because, you know, if you've been around the block as long as I have, and as many times, nothing is new under the sun. So I'm getting the following picture. When you spoke to your father, and he said to you, I really want to pay for half the wedding, and you told him that it was your intention to have your 2 parents walk you down the aisle, he was pleased about that.
No, he wasn't.
Well, he says he was.
He wasn't.
Well, you don't know that because you weren't on the phone with him. But then later you told him that it was your intention only to have your mother walk you down the aisle. And it's then that he became angry. And he said, I want my money back. I'm not going to the wedding under those circumstances.
Can she tell you what happened after that?
Sure.
Tell her what happened after that. The planning.
Yeah, as my wedding planning progressed, my dad just kept making demands on me as far as he wanted his own table, he wanted it to be up front, he wanted to invite certain people, and he was just putting extra stress on me that I was already going through with the wedding.
Okay. Well, how many people were you planning on having at the wedding?
80, 100.
Well, then, wouldn't it be normal for him to have his own table?
I think he was under the impression that there would be my parents having their own table and my fiance's parents having their own table, and he wanted to make sure he wouldn't be sitting with my mother.
So, what's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with that.
No, there isn't. Jennifer, there's not a lot wrong with that. If you had 2 parents who really got along beautifully with each other and they had this lovely relationship that had developed over the years despite the fact that they were not together, then there wouldn't have been anything untoward about them sharing a table. But if you knew that they did not enjoy that kind of relationship, then you should have been smart enough to say, you have your table with your family. Of course, Dad.
Yeah,
you have your if you have your table with your family, and Mom will have her table with her family. Or maybe Mom will sit with, what's the boyfriend's name?
Doug.
Mom is going to sit with Doug's family, and you could sit with your family. 80 people. You're not going to all sit at one table. So, I'm just taking care of that problem. Now, what's the second problem that he raised?
He wanted to invite certain guests, and I wanted to have a smaller wedding. I didn't want strangers
What did he
at
want?
my wedding.
What did
Some close friends of his.
How many?
I think there were 2 of them.
That's reasonable, Jennifer.
Right, but if he wasn't even really involved in my life, why would he want to share that with other people?
Jennifer, you were willing to take his money, weren't you?
He offered
Just
it
a
to
second.
me.
You were willing to take his money,
Yes,
weren't
I
you?
was.
If you're willing to take his money, and if you said to him, and I want you and Mom to walk me down the aisle, and then you say, I changed my mind because he was making, according to you, unreasonable demands, I'm telling you, you're out of line. And I really wasn't prepared to go that way.
Listen, can I say something now?
Sure, you sure can.
I did not change my mind because I changed my mind because I'd always wanted it just to be my mom. It was my way of honoring my mom for raising me. I didn't do it to punish my dad. I didn't do it for anything other than to honor my mother. It's the only reason I made that decision.
Jennifer, my dear, then you shouldn't have told your father at the beginning, Dad, I want you and Mom to walk me down the aisle. You should not have told him that. Because what you're telling me now is, well, I told him that, but then he made these demands on me, which is what you said a moment ago.
It is what I said a moment ago.
Oh, yeah, he made these demands on me, which I now tell you as a third party, totally unrelated to you, were totally appropriate requests from a person who really knows. Because although my husband and I have made many weddings, we have a mixed family. So I understand what you're talking about. You're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. And you did the wrong thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said, I'm not looking forward to walking you down the aisle.
Arthur Foltz says his daughter Jennifer Foltz owes for money given towards her wedding. Arthur says Jennifer doesn't want him to walk her down the aisle.
Those two things that your father asked to have is a separate table, separate from your mother, and to invite two friends.
He also wanted his own limo.
No. Shh, just a second. Well, tell me about that.
He asked me if I was going to have a limo at the wedding, and I said, no, I don't need one. I'm just going to drive myself to the place, get ready there. And later on that evening, we got together for dinner, my father and I, and he said that he was going to have a limo for him and his friends.
So he didn't ask you to pay for it, did he?
No, he didn't ask me to pay for it.
So?
But I just thought that was a little, odd. It's my wedding, but he wants to show up in the limo.
Who cares? Who cares if he comes in a bus? Who cares if he comes in a long bus, a short bus? It doesn't make any difference, Jennifer. You're picking on him. You're picking on him, honey. Life's too short.
It just bothers me that I didn't have much of a relationship with him when I was a child, and now he's trying to overtake the wedding and be a bigger part of the wedding than I feel he should be.
Jennifer, you're being a big baby.
I'm not being a big baby.
Yeah, you're being a big baby. And if you have bad feelings about your dad because he wasn't there for you when you were growing up, lots of children of divorce feel that way about their parents, especially when their parents remarry and have second family, right? That they're involved with, that live with them. The kids feel as if I didn't have the benefit of really a full-time or even a part-time great parent. It's never too late.
I don't feel as if it's too late.
Well, you shouldn't feel as if it's too late. And it's a shame if your father doesn't go to the wedding. It's a shame if you have a wedding that doesn't include your father and his wife and your mother. Are you remarried?
No.
And whoever she wants to bring, if she wants to bring anybody, and everybody else who's part of your life. It's a shame that you don't have that moment. You will, listen to me, you will always regret it. Because, you know why, Jennifer? You'll always look at that book of pictures and there'll be a bad feeling that he wasn't there.
You know what, though? When I told him that I wanted just my mom to walk me down the aisle, he said to me that I want nothing to do with your wedding. He took himself out of the wedding. I can understand he's hurt. I'm sure he's hurt. But if he doesn't go to my wedding, it's on his terms, not mine.
No, Jennifer, you're wrong. You're being young. You're being young. I disagree with him if what he chooses to do is to not go to the wedding. But I'm telling you, you're not a baby. You're a big girl.
I am a big girl.
And your mother should be a big person. And your mother should say, usually, if one parent walks a child down the aisle, it's usually their father, not their mother, unless their father's dead. And in this case, if you want to be a big person, and you want to be a big person, you say, for that 30 seconds that it takes to walk down the aisle, let's walk our daughter, our firstborn, down the aisle together and give her away, and then there'll be a picture of her family at her wedding. Because, you know, what can happen is 10 years from now, when you and Doug have 2 kids, and you and your father have hopefully reconciled, your children will say to you, where's Poppy's picture at your wedding? And if you have not reconciled, then what you're doing is you're depriving your children of the widest possible community of love and affection.
I wouldn't be the one that would deprive them of that, though. He would be the one that would not make the effort.
You hurt him?
I know.
You hurt him?
I understand that.
You hurt him? He's supposed to be bigger than that. Your mother is supposed to be bigger than that.
I didn't even do a thing.
Well, you did, Miss Bean.
Yeah, exactly.
You did, because you said to your daughter, and you acknowledged that you said to your daughter, I hope he can get over certain things, and I hope he's not going to be hostile. And
in response to his hostility when she told him that we were going to do it together.
Madam, I'm talking about before you got there. Before you got to the point where she said, I changed my mind, Dad, only Mom is walking me down the aisle. Then he got hostile.
He was hostile before I changed my mind.
He was hostile from the beginning.
Looking forward to walking you down the aisle with your mother. And I said, why? And he goes, because we know how that turned out last time. And I said, Dad, you're not marrying my mother, you're giving me away.
Is that true, sir?
No, ma'am.
I mean, I don't understand how that could be true if he said to you, I want to pay for half the wedding. In the same conversation, when he said to you, I want to pay for half the wedding, and you're telling me now that his conversation was hostile?
Yes.
I don't believe you. Listen, Mr. Foltz, I could see I'm not getting anywhere. I've made my best effort, sir. You gave your daughter $3,000 for the wedding. It was a no-strings gift. I hope you go to the wedding, and Jennifer, I think if you want to grow up to be a big person and your mother wants to be the loving mother that she is, you will decide that it's the right thing that both your parents walk you down the aisle. You still have plenty of time to do that and to make up so that you don't end up looking at that wedding album 20 years from now and saying it was really a sad day. Mr. Foltz,
Your Honor.
Say nothing. Say nothing. You made your daughter a $3,000 contribution towards her wedding. I hope she does the right thing with it.
I do have to
Case over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think we're still both very hurt and angry, and I think that neither one of us really wants to take the step towards mending our relationship.
25 years ago, I tried to make amends to my ex-husband for the trouble that I caused in our divorce.
Her statement that I didn't raise her, and that's, it's very hurtful to me.
25 years is a long time to hold a grudge, but I don't want to see anything between him and my daughter get worse and divide them forever.
My heart tells me that I love her, but I just don't think it's being reciprocated.
My wedding's supposed to be a happy time, and it's turning out to be not quite so happy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Reed versus Loft. Step forward, please.
27-year-old healthcare aide Lisa Reed is suing her former friend, house cleaner Barbara Loth, for breaking her toilet when she sat on it.
Miss Reed, the defendant used to be a friend of yours. She was visiting you, and according to your complaint, she went into the bathroom and she broke your toilet. She cracked it. You want her to pay for it.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
How many times had she been to your house before?
A whole bunch of times.
You may step out.
She was drunk when she went in the bathroom. I heard her fall on the toilet. I think she should pay for it.
It's New Jersey, it's the landlord, and everybody's trying to make us pay for everything.
I had to clean out the water with the towels.
Just because you're a big person doesn't mean that, you have to be the responsibility of everything that breaks in life.
I waited 2 weeks to get the toilet repaired. During that time, I was using my neighbor's bathroom, going up the stairs to the bathroom.
God bless chubby women.
Her daughter's former friend, school food server Tina Mark, for the cost to fix a Mazda MX-3. Lynn says Tina's 15-year-old daughter, Stephanie Sherman, got behind the wheel and totaled it.
Yeah, this is case number 543 on the calendar in the matter of Riley versus Mark. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ladies. Have a seat, please.
Mrs. Riley, I assume this is your daughter and this is your daughter. Is that right?
Correct.
Neither one of you were there on the fateful evening when your daughter got Mrs. Riley's car.
Yes.
And drove it and crashed it.
Yes.
Causing damage. And Mrs. Riley wants you to pay for the damage your daughter caused.
Correct.
And your daughter, whose name is?
Stephanie.
Stephanie says that
Kayla
gave her the keys to the car, so she's responsible. That's your position.
That's what I've been told.
So now that I know what your positions are, and you look like two lovely ladies, you can sit down, and I'm going to have the girls right up there. All right, Kayla. Where were you, and what were you doing when you gave Stephanie the keys to your mother's car?
I was at a friend's house.
Name of the friend?
Aaron.
How old is Aaron?
I think he's 18.
And how many people were at Aaron's house?
I would say about 10 people.
How old were they?
All around the ages between like 15 and 18.
How many of them were drinking?
I would say almost everyone.
Did you see anyone that said, no, I don't drink?
One of my friends, the friend who said that they were driving did tell me that they didn't drink.
And who was that?
My friend Felipe.
Who invited you to Aaron's house?
Another one of my friends.
Where were Aaron's parents?
They weren't there. I think that he owns the apartment himself.
So Aaron lives there by himself?
Yes, ma'am. I think so.
What does he do for a living, Aaron?
He goes to school, and I'm not sure what his job is.
He goes to college?
He goes to high school. He's a senior in high school.
What kind of alcohol were they serving?
Beer.
And what time did you get there?
I got there approximately 10:30.
What time did you get there, Stephanie?
Probably like 9:45.
Who did you come with?
My friend Mike.
Your friend Mike? Yeah. How old is Mike?
Like 18.
And he picked you up from your house?
My friend Danielle's.
Had you been drinking at Danielle's?
No.
You didn't start drinking until you got to Aaron's?
No, I didn't drink there.
You didn't drink anything?
No.
Had nothing to drink? No alcohol?
I had no alcohol.
And Mike, did he have alcohol?
No. He left before, like right when he got there. He only stayed for like 15 minutes, then he left.
Well, and when he was there, he didn't drink?
I wasn't with him at the time.
So, you know you didn't drink. As far as you know, Mike didn't drink. Did you drink?
Yes, ma'am, I had a beer.
Who else didn't drink?
My friend Christina.
She didn't drink?
No.
Now, tell me, Stephanie, how it came about that you got the keys to Kaylee's car.
Kayla got there a little while after me, and when we were standing there,
standing where?
In the middle, like the kitchen and the living room. And when we were standing there, there was only three people there who had cars. Michael had left, and Aaron, but he wasn't going to leave, and Kayla had a car. And there's a kid, Josh, there, and he needed a ride home. And Kayla said, well, I have a car. And she goes, well, I'm too cocked to drive. So we were standing there, and I offered. I was like, well, I'll drive. And she's like, will you really? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay. So
why would you offer to drive? You don't have a driver's license.
No, I don't.
You certainly, according to you, weren't drunk.
No, I was not.
So there's no excuse for you saying that I'll get behind the wheel of a car when that's against the law.
Well, I didn't want Kayla to drive because I didn't know if she was going to drive, so
let Josh walk. That's what he has legs for.
Yes, I know.
Like Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I would like to hear all the rest of the excuses, Miss Stephanie.
So we were standing there, and then Kayla showed me her keys, and me, her, and another friend walked outside to the car, and there's a couple of our friends standing outside, and they were smoking cigarettes. I got into the car, and I didn't want to go by myself, so I invited Christina and Felipe to go. So we got into the car, I started the car, and Kayla came out and talked to me, and she said, are you going to be okay to have your seatbelt on? And I said, yes. So she shut the door, and she goes, make sure you're back in 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, and I went to bring him home.
So what you're telling me is Kaylee couldn't drive because she was too drunk?
Yes.
And you weren't because you didn't have any alcohol?
No, I wasn't there for long.
Okay. Miss Mark, you can stand up now. Now you can tell me why you think your daughter is not responsible.
I don't think she's responsible because she doesn't have a valid license, and Kayla knew this.
Okay. Now, when you get someone's permission to do something, and they are incapable of giving you permission, that's like having no permission. Okay. You can be incapable of giving permission because you're in a coma, you're mentally challenged, you are high on drugs, you're loaded on alcohol, but if you are in any way incapacitated, you can't give a valid permission. Let me give you an example. If you're out with a young man and he knows that you're drunk and he wants to have sex, and he does, and he knows you're drunk, and you say, I didn't give permission. He knew I was drunk. He knew I couldn't consent. He did this against my will. And you'd be right. Now, your daughter just told me that she didn't have anything to drink. Now, I don't believe her necessarily. But that's what she told me, because that's what the good story would be, that she didn't have anything to drink. That, by the way, Miss Mark, is a lie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Riley says her former friend, 15-year-old Stephanie Sherman, wrecked her Mazda MX-3. Stephanie says Kayla gave her permission to drive it.
She didn't have anything to drink. So she knew she was 15. She knew she had no permission getting behind the wheel of a car. She knew she couldn't get anybody else's permission to drive a car. Can't drive yours, can she? No. And according to her, she knew or believed that the reason she couldn't drive to give Josh a ride home was because she was drunk. Because that's what she just told me. She said, Kaylee said to her, I can't drive. I'm too, what, clocked, cocked, whatever it is. I'm too drunk. That's what the connotation was. So she was incapable of giving her permission, according to your daughter, who's lying, by the way. But I'll take it. Now, your daughter has no reason at 17 to be in a situation where she can be high, drunk with a beer, and have keys to your car.
I understand that.
So what do you think, Miss Riley, is reasonable with regard to the damage to your car?
The deductible and the difference I paid for the car.
What was the damage to your car?
They totaled it.
And so what is your out-of-pocket expense? How much did you pay for the car, and how much did you get from insurance?
Okay, I paid for the car $24.75 in May. What I received from the insurance company was $1741.75.
That leaves a difference of $734. Now, did you buy this car for your daughter, or was it your car?
No, I bought it for her.
You bought it for her?
Yes.
Does she now have another car?
No.
That's good. She doesn't need one. 734 divided by 2. 50% for you, 50% for you. Equals $367. You think you're 50% responsible, or your daughter is, for the damage to the car?
We both are. Yeah.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $367. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The kid that I was bringing home just went to go grab the steering wheel, and I got nervous, so I turned and I hit the curb. I should never let anybody else drive my car.
At least she knows better than to get behind the wheel of a car when she's drinking.
I got burns on my face and down my neck, and I got a black eye and like big fat lips.
She could have been killed and everybody else in that car.
There was no responsibility. There was no adults.
It was a mistake, and I paid for it.
Carolyn Kruger is suing her brother, Kevin Perks, for his share of their mother's funeral. Carolyn says Kevin is the only sibling who refuses to pay.
Miss Kruger, Mr. Perks is your brother.
Yes, he is.
And your claim is that he is responsible for a portion of your mother's funeral expenses.
That's correct.
Mr. Perks says he is not responsible for any portion of your mother's funeral expenses. When did your mother pass away?
April 22nd, 2007.
And it is my understanding that her primary asset was a life insurance policy. Is
That's
that correct?
correct.
Did she have any other assets other than this life insurance policy?
She had a few $100s in a bank account that I used to pay for the nursing home.
Other than the life insurance policy, did she have a home? Did she have a car?
No.
Did she have bonds? Anything else?
No.
Life insurance policy?
Yes.
And how much was the life insurance policy?
I don't know the total amount. We each got a portion of it. It was $2,082.74 a piece times 8. So a little over $17,000.
And insurance policy, I assume it was from work? Or?
Correct. It came out of her pension.
So it was a pension?
Right.
And it is also my understanding from your complaint that there was no named beneficiary on the policy.
That's correct.
So far, are we correct on that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So, only asset is a $17,000 life insurance policy, correct?
Yes.
You have 7 siblings.
That's correct.
Correct. Your mother did not have a will.
No, she did not.
So you decided, I assume, that you had been taking care of her business?
Correct.
You didn't object to that?
I didn't object. I didn't know I was objecting to because she never consulted me on anything.
Don't give me a lot of baloney.
Carolyn Kruger says her brother, Kevin Perks, refuses to pay his share of their mother's funeral. Kevin says he shouldn't have to.
Now, when you went to visit her, did you take charge of her medical care, of overseeing her stay in the nursing home? Did you take care of her other business, or did you just go and visit her?
I just went and visited her.
So you knew somebody had to be taking care of that.
That's correct.
And who did you think was taking care of that business?
Carolyn.
There we go. And you didn't object to that?
No, I did not.
Perfect. Now, you did receive a portion of this life insurance, did you not?
That's correct.
How much did you receive?
$2,076 and some change. I don't know the exact amount.
When your mother passed away in April of 2007, did she pass away in the same town where you live?
Yes.
Did you go to the funeral?
Yes.
Did you put on a suit?
Yes.
You married?
Fiance.
Did your fiance go with you?
Yes, she did.
Do you have children?
Yes, we do.
Did you bring your children to the funeral?
Yes.
So they went to their grandmother's funeral.
Yes.
Were there flowers at the funeral?
Yes.
Was there a grave site that you went to?
Yes.
Did you ever stop to say to yourself, who's paying for this? Mr. Parks,
No.
did you ever stop to say to yourself, who's paying for this?
Yes.
Did you think the burial fairy was paying for it?
No.
No. So you knew that somebody had to be paying for it.
That's correct.
Okay. And who did you think? Put your hand down. Who'd you think that was?
The life insurance policy.
Right. Look how smart you are. You thought that her life insurance policy was paying for it, right?
That's correct.
Put your hand down. It did. All your brothers and sisters kicked in from the life insurance policy to pay for the funeral, except you. That's what the case is all about. Now, your sister could very easily have said, I am going to take all the proceeds of this life insurance policy and I'm going to pay the $6,000 for Mom's funeral, and whatever is left over, I'm going to give it to my brothers and sisters. Right?
That's correct.
Well, that's what you thought happened. Instead, your sister decided to do what she considered the right thing, which was name each of you as a beneficiary on the life insurance policy. You all got your money, and everybody divided the $6,000 or whatever it was for the funeral and sent her a check for their portion. Go!
Well, Your Honor, the life insurance policy, normally most life insurance policy, they have a provision, or the funeral home has an agreement where you can have a form filled out to have the life insurance policy paid for it, the funeral expense itself. She never told me about this expense whatsoever. A week after I got the check, I never heard anything from her, never agreed to it, never paid anything. She didn't consult me about it, nothing.
So? And your point would be?
I shouldn't consult it further on...
I'm consulting you right now. I'm consulting you. Who's supposed to pay for your mother's funeral? Not you. You have no legal obligation to pay for your mother's funeral. None. But you have no right to accept full proceeds of a life insurance policy which by law is supposed to pay for her funeral expenses before it's dispersed to any beneficiary. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. So it was done a little bit backwards. Instead of taking the money out and then put your hand down. Does it sound like you're losing?
No, I'm sorry.
So instead of taking the $6,000 out and paying for the policy and then distributing it to you, she distributed it to the siblings and then says, okay, brothers and sisters, now send me a check. It's the same thing. Do you understand?
Yes.
You don't have to be consulted about that, sir. This one wants to say something. I'm just dying to hear what she has to say. Dying to hear what she has to say.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but during the funeral and everything that was at the funeral, as far as the casket, the flowers, anything, Kevin was not allowed or invited to pick any of that stuff out.
Was he invited to pick out who the nurses were going to be at his mother?
Your Honor.
Pay attention to what I'm saying to you. Was he consulted, and did he make himself responsible for his mother's care in the nursing home where she was?
He had no choice.
Of course he had a choice. Did he have a choice to pick you?
Yes.
Then he had a choice to pick where his mother went and who took care of her and participating in her care. He chose not to do that. Just as he chose, madam, listen to me very carefully, he chose to let somebody else take the responsibility for picking out a casket, for picking out flowers. It was not as if he wasn't invited to the funeral. He went with you and his children. He just made himself dumb, which I have a feeling isn't much of a stretch. You owe your sister your share of your mother's funeral. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. How much was it?
$750.
Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
26-year-old account specialist Beatrice Turrieta is suing her mother, tanning salon owner Beatrice Coleman, for having her falsely arrested and for the return of her belongings.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 470 on the calendar in the matter of Turrieta versus Coleman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Turrieta, this is your mom.
Yes.
And you're suing her for a couple of things. First, you were living with her and her boyfriend. I assume this is the boyfriend?
Yes, it is.
For a while. You and your husband?
Yes.
And children?
My baby.
Your baby?
6-month-old son.
Child. And there was some sort of a disagreement, a dispute. You left the house and you claim that your mother still has some of your property.
Yes.
That's one. Number two, you claim that your mother falsely reported to the police that you had stolen a credit card from her.
Correct.
And you were arrested.
Yes.
Your mom says that she has none of your property, and I don't understand her defense with regard to the credit card. Is what you're saying, Ms. Coleman, that you didn't call the police, but your boyfriend called the police?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when did you and your husband and baby move in with your mother?
April 2004.
Why?
My mom didn't raise me. My father raised me from when I was 3 and my brother was 1 in New York. And I talked to my mom maybe 3 or 4 times a year for my whole life. She asked us to come there and come visit her, so I brought my son and we came to visit. I visited for about a month, and she said, why don't you come here with...
Well, what was your husband doing when you were visiting?
He was still at work in North Carolina, where I'm from.
Okay, go ahead.
And then we were there for about a month, and John had come to visit 2 weekends, and she said, you should come here, save up all of your money, live with us, and you can save up enough money and get a house and come live here. So we did.
Where is here?
To Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And things were pretty normal and good for a little while.
Did your husband find a job?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And I got a job at the end of August. After that, I think things went downhill from there. She was watching my son while I was going to work, and he had diaper rash almost every week to the point where his butt was bleeding, and I had to fix it every weekend.
Can you tell me on what day you moved out?
October 16th.
Had there been an argument?
Yes.
About what?
They came home, they had been drinking. My brother was back from Iraq with his wife, and they came into the house and they were stomping and slamming doors and screaming. And I asked my brother, I was like, can you be quiet? My son is sleeping. And he stood up and he was like, I don't have to be quiet, I don't have to do anything. And then Ron came up behind him and he was like, this is my house and this is my rules, and if you don't like it, you can get out. And he was screaming and acting like a psycho. So I went and got my husband, and he got in my husband's face and tried to start a fight with him and said, come on, big boy, come on, big boy. You want to do something?
I got it. So you left that night?
Yes. And she came into my bedroom and she brought her purse with her. She took out her wallet and she opened it up and she went to looking through her credit cards and she went to give me the black one that I use sometimes, and then she goes, oh, you have my GM card, why don't you just use that one? Get a week at the hotel, and I'll get you somewhere to live. At the end of the week, I'll get you somewhere to live.
Well, why would she get you somewhere to live if you were working and your husband was working?
Because she felt bad because we had moved there.
You had the credit card?
Correct.
Ms. Coleman, how did she get the credit card?
She had it. She was going to obtain some Barbie dolls for me at her job.
She gave it to me.
Just a second. When did you give her your credit card?
Probably 2 weeks prior to her leaving the house.
Does that sound familiar to you?
She gave me the card almost every day, all the time, for gas, cigarettes, everything.
How many times did she use the credit card? If I were to look at the slips from the credit card company, how many times before October had she used the credit card?
Probably about 6.
And would you give it to her each time, or was it in her possession?
Usually.
Not usually. Was it in her possession?
She kept it. She kept it. She kept it.
She kept it?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm going to get to the truth.
Yes,
you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I would like to see the police report that was filled out with regard to the credit card. Well, first of all, Mrs. Coleman, you filled out this police report. This is in your handwriting.
Yes, they made me.
Nobody makes you do anything, and you say here that she used it without my knowledge or permission.
Right.
Who made you? Your boyfriend?
No, when the sheriff came to the house.
Why did the sheriff come to the house?
Because he had checked our account online, and she had used
Who had?
My husband.
Yeah.
And she had used it at the motel room, charging $309. She went 3 different times in a matter of hours to the Meijer at the bottom of the hill and went on a shopping spree. Okay.
So charged what?
Energy drinks, men's boxer shorts, women's bras, conditioner, shampoos, all the stuff that she brought the policeman to the house to get that night.
Ms. Coleman, I don't understand something, madam. I mean, I hear you talking about all the things that she charged on this. You're not talking about a lot of money. They all look like emergency things that one would use if they were staying temporarily someplace that they needed interimly, especially when you have a baby.
Right.
And you knew she had the card, and she had had the card before.
Right.
Don't you think the smarter idea, rather than involving the police in this, was after you went online and saw that she had charged the hotel room and charged the other thing, to call the credit card company and say, listen, my daughter has the card. She's not authorized to use it anymore. I want to stop the use of the card. Do not let it be used again.
Prior to this, she had went to my salon and was mad at her husband, charged $680 some worth of tanning products. My husband and her had gotten to a confrontation over it, and he told her, you are not allowed to use this credit card unless your mother gives you permission. And he said, because if you use this without my knowledge, he said, I will file a complaint on you.
Don't you think that it would have been smarter, more maternal, if you say to whatever his first name is, Joe, she's my daughter, she left the house, she's got my grandson with her, we don't want her to use the card anymore, just call the company and tell them, shut off the card. I don't want to involve the police, I don't want her to be arrested. Did you say that to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say?
Well, he said that he had already told her that she was not allowed to use it. And before she brought it back, minutes before she came to my house with the policeman standing there, she stopped and got a pack of cigarettes at the corner store.
You think he did the right thing?
No, ma'am.
You think you did the right thing?
Yes.
You did the wrong thing.
We attempted to take it back.
No. Your girlfriend says that you told her you can hold on to it, but if you use it again without your mother's permission or my permission, I'm going to call the police. And I'm saying, is she lying to me?
No.
Well, and I'm saying to you, if you didn't want the temptation there, you should have taken the credit card back. But you don't put her in a situation where she's got a baby and the police come to the motel and take her away and arrest her. That can start a process going from which it's very hard to extricate yourself. Very stupid. But they were entitled to do it. And I somehow think that your mother is sorry that it happened. She's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I know.
You got it?
I know.
Okay. What does your mother have in the house that belongs to you?
I have pictures of some of this stuff, and then I wrote a list of all the things that she has. And I called her and asked for his high chair, and she said, when I was in the hotel, because I said he was eating on the bed, and she said, well, he needs his high chair. And I said, I want my caricature and the calendar of him that I've been making of him since I was born. And she said, you know, I don't think I have those things. All I want is some respect. And she said, Ron's going to take care of it from here, and threw the phone down.
Okay. You have these things?
I see she showed you a little picture of a toy box that Nicholas is in. That's mine. I bought everything that she's talking about, and I have receipts. I have $10,000 worth of receipts. Mr. Turietti was asked if he had got everything out. He said, yes, he did. He looked at me and said, all's in there is garbage. I can go down to my job, get a truck, come up and throw all that garbage away if you want me to. I said, don't worry about it, John.
Step up,
clean it up.
Did you go to the house?
Yes, Your Honor. I went on...
With or without the police?
With the police.
Fine.
And before we walked in, they wouldn't let us in the house until they had the credit card and the key to the tanning salon. She had to come up from the hotel. We gave them back the credit card, but we are not allowed to go anywhere in the house except the bedroom. Our stuff was in the basement, in another closet.
There's a lot of junk here.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of this doesn't add up to the motel room, right?
Right.
So what are you doing here?
I want the calendar that I've been making of my son since he was born. There's no, you cannot put a price on that. I put pictures of
Okay, do you have the calendar?
No, ma'am. And if it wasn't all that garbage, and what I had done was bought cases
Do you have
of
the
Pampers.
calendar? The
No,
answer is
ma'am.
no. She doesn't have the calendar.
That's just to hurt me. That's just to keep things from me that are
She
of
doesn't
my
have
sons.
it. Listen, you used a credit card, and I think that you probably knew that you weren't supposed to use the credit card at the time when you used it, whether you did or whether you didn't. What he had paid for as a result of your using the credit card is more than this.
They didn't pay for anything. That's why my case was dismissed on January 21st, because they could not provide the receipts because they didn't pay the bill.
Oh, really?
Really.
Is that right?
You would have to ask Ron about that. We did pay. The reason it was dropped is I'm going through some cancer treatments. I didn't feel like going to, I couldn't I was throwing
All I want to know is, did you pay for the motel?
We've reported it to the credit card company
They did not.
as a misuse of the credit card.
So the answer is you didn't.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Beatrice Turrieta says her mother, Beatrice Coleman, had her falsely arrested for credit card theft. Beatrice says her mother gave her that card.
You bought certain things for your grandson. Toy box?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. High chair?
No, ma'am. I don't have the toy, but I didn't. Oh, that's a walker, yes. But I don't have that. They have that.
Yeah.
But this you have?
Yes, ma'am.
You want this?
I don't have that other thing.
Just listen to me. Do you want this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You have any problem with them having that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you want to go over there in the company of a peace officer within 5 days, you can get those things. Understood?
Understood.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's all.
What is that excuse? You may step out.
I was born to that, who I haven't seen since I was 3, and I will never see again.
I would have still given her the $3,000 if that's what she wanted.
She's not a mother. She doesn't know how to be a mother. She never will be a mother.
When she came to my house, she asked my husband where his connection was for cocaine. So I'm sure that's probably what she needed it for. Either that or a gallon of Captain Morgan every week.
I do like Captain Morgan, but I'm a little fat to be on the coke. You think?
She's been in prison before for
Sponsor,
welfare
actually.
fraud.
I was in jail. I wasn't, and I've made mistakes in my life.
My dad told me I was selling my soul to the devil when I came to her house, and he was right.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martin versus Martin. Step forward.
26-year-old insurance sales assistant Karen Martin is suing her ex-husband, home improvement salesman Kevin Martin, for stealing her share of a tax refund. Karen claims Kevin forged her signature on the check.
Ms. Martin, the defendant is your former husband. It is your claim that there was a government refund check in the amount of $400 that was issued to both of you. It is your claim that Mr. Martin forged your signature to that check, cashed that check, and you want your $200.
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Martin says there was no check that he received. He did not forge your name to any check, and he, quite frankly, doesn't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So let us assume for a moment that a refund check was sent to Mr. and Mrs. Martin. So your obligation now, Ms. Martin, is to establish that he forged your name to that check.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
Okay. I do have a copy of the check where it's signed by him, and that is not my signature.
Okay.
I do have other...
Okay, let me see it.
Okay.
Mr. Martin, the Family Service Center. You familiar with that institution?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about that institution, sir.
It's a credit union that we had, as we were married, had an account there.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to tell... clearly this check was sent to the two of you, and clearly it was endorsed by two people.
I never knew anything about the check. I never even knew that we were getting some kind of tax credit check.
How did you find out about the check, Miss Martin?
My cousin had received hers, and she had asked me if I got anything on it, and I...
These were the checks that were $400 that were issued to families by President Bush, is that right?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It was $400 per child, and she had received hers and asked me if I received mine, and I said, no, I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I had called Kevin, asked him about it.
And what did he say?
He said, he had still said, I have no idea what you're talking about. How do you... Actually, he said, how do you know that I... Or how does he know that I didn't forge his signature?
So, Mr. Martin, what I'm asking you is that the conversation you had? How do I know you didn't forge my signature? Right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the answer. The answer is you weren't calling her to complain that you didn't get your $200, right?
I never knew.
Now listen to me.
Okay.
You weren't calling her, Mr. Martin, to complain that you didn't get your $200.
No.
Because according to you, you didn't know about it. So why would she call you to complain? Listen to me. Call you to complain. If she had forged your signature to the check so that she got the entire $400 and you weren't calling her to complain about it, you get my drift, sir?
I understand what you're saying.
Old story. If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. And if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So somebody from your credit union cashed this. I'm speaking. Somebody from your credit union cashed this check with a signature that I have compared with the signature on your answer, and with a signature that I have compared with the signature on Miss Martin's complaint. And while that's not necessarily dispositive of who forged whose signature, the signature on this check, your signature on this check, is eerily similar to your signature on the answer, while her signature on the check is no way similar to her signature on her complaint. So I put those facts together, and you know what I came up with? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. That's all. Step out.
All these are excused and they step out.
She's accused me of kicking her car, slashing her tires, cutting her brake line.
He has 2 domestic violence charges against him. I have a PPO against him currently right now.
She hates me. I left her.
There was multiple threats about bodily harm to me because I'm her new boyfriend, and it was the classic case of the husband being jealous of his ex-wife's new boyfriend. It's pretty cut and dry.
She won't leave me alone. She's made my life a living hell, and I'm just tired of it.
Well, you know, he knew that wasn't my signature. He knew it was his signature, and obviously Judge
Letitia Anthony claims store clerk Paulette Orozco pierced her teenage son's nose without her permission.
This belongs to a friend. He's visiting. I thought you would like to see her. Is she sweet? Miss Anthony, this is your son?
Yes.
It is your claim, Miss Anthony, that the defendants owe you a whole lot of money because one of their employees pierced your son's nose without your permission.
Correct.
And you are how old, sir?
14.
You have a place in the mall?
Yes.
And you know that you're not permitted to pierce anyone who's a minor without parental permission?
Yes.
Who did the piercing? That would
I
be
did.
you. How old are you?
18.
18. How long have you been working at the store?
About 5-6 months.
Did you start to work there when you were 17?
Yes.
Are you related to the owners?
Just employee there.
How did you get the job?
One of her friends that works there recommended me because I used to work with her.
What special training do you have to be a piercer?
Not any.
Nothing?
No.
Well, who taught you how to do it?
She did.
You mean you don't need any special training?
Basically what we do is pierce ears and sometimes nose.
Do you have a license for piercing?
I don't think we need a license, no.
What else do you pierce other than ears and noses?
Only 2.
Only ears
ear
and noses?
Yes.
Why don't you pierce any other parts of the body?
Oh, that's against the law, that's what I know. Because that belongs to body piercing, we're not doing ear piercing.
Well, your ears are part of your body and your nose is part of your body. Last I looked. Who are you?
I'm her son. So the piercings that we do, it only requires a gun. So we don't do the ones where you need a long needle. So only the nose and the ears are capable with a gun.
I could think of some other places where you could use a gun.
You can, yeah, technically you can, but it's
But
not,
I've
it's
heard
not very
about.
safe.
Okay, sit down. Okay, here are the facts that we know. Your son, who was 14,
Yes.
speak up,
Yes.
went to their shop and lied to them, right? You lied.
No.
Well, sure you did, because they knew you were underage, and you kept telling them that your mother gave you permission.
No. No.
You mean you just walked in there and she pierced your nose?
Yes.
Is that right?
No.
No. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't believe that for a minute, young man. Who did you see when you walked in?
The young lady right there.
And what did you say to her?
Do you pierce noses here?
And what did she say to you?
Yes. I asked her how much is it. She said $5. So I got it done. And then I left.
And?
And I went home and my mom got mad.
Okay. Bird, do me a favor. This baby wants to go back inside. Would you take the baby inside? Don't hurt the baby.
You know how much I love dogs. Come on.
There's a soft side of him. Okay. Let's get... You mean this young lady didn't say to you, how old are you?
No, not at all.
Did you ask him how old he was?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
He was 13.
And what did you say to him?
That he needed a parent or a guardian that was responsible for the piercing.
And what did he say to you?
He said that she was buying some other stuff around where we work, around the mall.
Put your hand down, Miss Anthony. And what did you say to him?
I told him that I needed to see the mom and make sure that she was responsible for the piercing. So he left and he came back and he said like, it's fine. And he brought the money. And I'm like, okay. And I told him I need your mom. He says, she's around here. She said it was okay that you could do it. So I went ahead and pierced the nose, and then he left, and by the time, well, at the end, I didn't see the mom.
Okay. Did you know that wasn't the right thing to do?
Yes.
So why did you do it?
I thought the mom was there.
Well, that was clearly the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Step up here. Show me where you had your nose pierced.
Here.
Turn around.
I have pictures.
I don't need any pictures. I see his nose.
Sorry.
I don't see anything. Show me where.
I took it out.
Well, I know you took it out, so I don't see it anymore.
It was on the left-hand side.
Well, it's all gone, right?
Yes.
Your mother made you take it out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Did she get very angry with you?
Yes.
What'd she do?
Take it out.
And you took it out?
Yes.
Step back. Now, Miss Anthony, the employee did the wrong thing.
Yes.
Why do you think that's worth $5,000? Explain that to me.
I mean, she had no right pissing. I didn't give her permission to do anything.
Agreed.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
But, I mean,
just a second. I understand English, and I understand your statement that you didn't give permission.
Right.
Right. You have a 14-year-old boy and an 18-year-old employee, and he goes in there knowing full well that he doesn't have your permission, full well that he doesn't have your permission to have his nose pierced. So he did the wrong thing, and they did the wrong thing. My question to you is, he has no mark on his nose. He wasn't injured in any way. He had no infection whatsoever. You were very, very fortunate. There is no damage at all other than the fact that you were aggravated. You explain to me why his misdeed is worth $5,000.
Well, I mean, I was upset for a while. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I mean,
you couldn't
he
sleep.
had pus coming out of it. That's why I took the pictures, and I have a police report.
No, show me a medical report that it was infected.
Actually, you know what? To be honest with you, I went to go try to get it, and at the same time, when I took him to the doctor, he was having an asthma attack at the same time. And the doctor she did look at it, and I went to try to get the paperwork from the doctor, and she told me
Don't tell me what she told you, that's hearsay.
Well, she
Don't tell me what she told you, that's hearsay. Miss Anthony, you're not following me, madam. Not everything is a lawsuit.
Yeah?
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is, what makes this non-injury to your son, who did the wrong thing? She didn't chase him in the mall with a piercing gun and pierce his nose.
No, she didn't.
He went in, listen to me. He went into her store. They did the wrong thing. They didn't follow protocol. You're absolutely entitled to say, you did the wrong thing. I want my money back, and I want you to pay me some sort of damages for the medical bill that I had as a result of this. But what makes you think this non-injury is worthy of a $5,000 lawsuit?
Well, I mean, she was wrong, and she lied and said he was 13. He was 14. It happened on his birthday. He had just turned 14.
Well, maybe he was slow and didn't remember.
Maybe so. I don't know.
That's not my question. What difference does it make whether he was 13 or 14 and it was his birthday? What makes it worth $5,000 is my question.
The negligence and the stupidity that they did. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it was just uncalled for. But what I'm trying to explain to you is, yes, he probably was negligent. I mean, he went in a store just like you said. He did that. But, I mean, it comes to a point in time, little kids at his age do certain things they're not supposed to. That is true. But, I mean, the way she talked to me when I went to go talk back with her after she did the piercing.
Well, what did you tell her?
I told her, I said, you pierced my son's nose. And she said, yeah, I did. I said, he's only 14. As a matter of fact, today is his birthday. He was 14 to that day that she did it.
I heard you. You don't have to repeat yourself.
And I talked to her and I said, well, why did you do that? She said, well, I told him to go. Something she was telling me, they was both talking.
She was telling you that she told him to go and get his mother.
No, both of them was talking to me at the same time.
Good. What did you tell them?
I told them that I was going to take them to court because
Did you demand money?
The courts told me to go ask her.
No. Don't tell me what the courts told you. The courts don't speak. Courts don't speak. Judges speak. You weren't before a judge.
Yeah.
So courts don't speak. You tell me how much money you demanded from them when you went into their shop.
I went in there and I asked her, I believe it was $3,000, I believe.
$3,000?
Yeah.
You went in and asked for $3,000. What did she say to you?
She said, oh, no. She did. She said, I'll give you $5 back. And
Cheryl Wind is suing the father of her child, 28-year-old business owner Arthur Harris Jr., for a loan for bail and for throwing a brick through her car window.
Come to order, all rise. Now, this is case number 381 on the calendar in the matter of Wind versus Harris Jr. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Wind, you and the defendant have a child together. You are no longer a couple, but it is your claim that while you were a couple, Mr. Harris found himself in the unfortunate position of being incarcerated. You bailed him out with a promise that he would pay you back. He paid some back, the bail money, but he still owes you some of that money. He stopped paying you as soon as you separated. And then you claim that he has not been able to handle the separation appropriately and has vandalized your car on 2 occasions. You want him to pay for the windows and the damage to the car. Mr. Harris, while he acknowledges that you did in fact bail him out of prison, you told him that it was a gift, that he need not pay you back, and that he has no clue as to what you're talking about with regard to the vandalizing of your cars, and the police lacked sufficient evidence to charge him, therefore he is not guilty. Is that right, Mr. Harris?
Somewhat, to a certain extent.
So, a couple of questions for you. When was your child born?
December 9th, 2001.
Boy or a girl?
A girl.
Do you visit with the child?
I have 57% custody over her 43%.
Okay. So she spends a great deal of time with you.
Correct. I think she's just jealous of me and my daughter's bond because...
Listen to me. Not Montel. Not interested in what she's jealous about. Do you understand, Mr. Harris?
Yeah.
Not yeah. Yes. Court. Therapist. I am not a therapist. I don't like people well enough to be a therapist. So you have your daughter 57% of the time.
And I recently had to call CPS on Miss Wynn because my daughter comes up with marks on her eyes last week.
You're not listening to me. You think that anybody's listening to you? I'm not listening to a word you're saying. When I start to speak, you stop. We understand that?
See.
Now, what were you incarcerated for that required you being bailed out of jail, Mr. Harris?
I was driving Mrs. Wynn's car and I got pulled over, and in Mrs. Wynn's car they found some drugs, but later it was a misunderstanding. They had to dismiss the case.
Mr. Harris, you want me to believe you, don't you?
You can look in the court documents.
No, you want me to believe you, don't you? I asked you what you were incarcerated for.
And I told you.
The answer is drugs.
Correct.
Okay. Now, is this the first time you were arrested for drugs?
No, in my prior days, I used to get down
that just the answer is no.
I used to get down like Jay-Z.
Just the answer is no. You don't want to appear foolish. Mr. Harris, I can guarantee you, sir, don't be a smart aleck with me because I can make you look very, very foolish. I just want to be reasonable and fair with you. I've read the documents you gave me. I've listened to you. Why don't you just try to help yourself by not being a wise guy? Try to help yourself if you can. I don't find you attractive.
Ditto to you.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. Then why don't you just view me as somebody who has the limited responsibility today, Mr. Harris, of making a decision based on the evidence as to whether you owe her for bail money and whether you vandalized her car.
My daughter has
right now, Mr. Harris.
My daughter's totally irrelevant.
Your daughter in this particular court. In this particular court, your daughter's situation is irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant here, Mr. Harris, are 2 things. Whether you owe her for bail and whether you vandalized her car.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
Good. Now, how much was your bail?
30, I don't know. You have to ask her if she did it.
How much was his bail?
Well, see, I went to court for him.
How much was his bail?
$75,000.
And how much did you post?
First, we posted 23, and then I posted personally 3,200.
All I want to know is you personally.
3,200.
You have proof of that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Now tell me how it came about that you posted this bail back in December of 2002.
In December of 2002, he had to go back to court for a bail hearing where they brought it back up because they had reduced it to like $3,500. They brought it back up to $75,000, excuse me, and I wasn't there. But his lawyer called me at home and told me that the bail was raised and that he was incarcerated again, and that I would have to be the one to get him out.
Do you recall what the charge was in December of 2002?
It was because of his priors, that they had overlooked that when the first time he went to court for the bail reduction hearing. So they overlooked that, so they brought it back into court in December, and that was around the holidays, and my daughter was around 1 then. So I bailed him out with my credit card. His lawyer even picked me up from my house and brought me to the bail bondsman where I used my credit card and bailed him out. And then he brought me to the car that he was driving that day when he went to court, and I took the car home and everything.
Okay. Now,
oh, sweet name, too. This one.
You see, Mr. Harris, one of the things that I have to determine when I finish this bail portion of the case is whether or not you have a violent nature, whether you can control yourself, or whether there is truth to the allegation that you vandalized her car. Right now, what you're doing is suggesting to me that you lack the capacity to control yourself. So far, I don't hear, madam, that you made an arrangement with Mr. Harris for this bail to be a loan.
Okay, I have even though it was always understood that he was going to pay me back.
It may have been understood. Understood isn't a contract.
Okay, yeah.
Understood means that you understood it. But when his lawyer called you, his lawyer cannot make a contract with you.
His lawyer?
Only he can make a contract with
you. He did.
Well, then let me hear.
Here's a tape record. I recorded one of our conversations.
Where's the money you owe me? Where's the money you owe me for your bail bond? I'm pretty much need it because you're going to throw me in jail. I might as well keep it, right? You know what? You told me you would pay me for your stinking bail bond.
Cheryl, I know you for a fact, and that's not you.
You know what? You told me you would pay me back.
I will pay you back, and I told you that.
I'm not going to pay for your bail bond. I'm never going to pay for your again. I paid for your for 2 years.
I didn't say that. Did I say that, baby? Listen to me.
No. Is there anything else there about the bail? Okay. How much did he pay you back?
He's paid me about $700 since.
How has he paid it? In check? Cash?
Yeah, usually he'll give me like a money order. He would give me money once in a while.
Show me.
Like money orders? He would keep the receipts.
How much money did you give her back? She says $700.
Yeah, I never gave her no money for bail because I never had a control over her bailing me out. I never asked her to bail me out.
So that your statement is, Mr. Harris, that you never gave her any money back. She says you gave her $700.
No, I never gave her no money for that. You're correct. She told me it was a gift for being a great father.
Just answer my question, Mr. Harris. Don't you understand? My mouth is moving again. So what you're saying is you gave her back no money towards the $3,200 in bail. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Good. Good. Then you owe her $3,200 because that's what you said. That's what you said on the tape, that you owed her for the bail. Now, let's get to the damage to the car. Your car was damaged on 2 separate occasions.
Right.
Give me the dates.
May 18th and September 1st of 2004.
How was the car damaged on May 18th, 2004?
I have a picture here to show you. The driver's side mirror was broke off. The windshield was shattered. There was multiple dents in the car, on top of the car by the sunroof, on both doors on the driver's side.
Yes.
I found a big heart-shaped rock right next to the car.
Okay. Now, what proof do you have that Mr. Harris did this damage?
Oh, I saw him. We saw him. It was over at, we were at a family friend's house, and after I noticed that it happened, my sister was with me. She saw it, and she ran back into the house. And then they all came outside, and while I was standing there looking at the car, he came by in our Lexus. And he
so you didn't see him do it?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't see him?
By.
Listen to me. So you didn't see him do it?
I didn't see him. I saw him come down the street with his lights off and come down and come back around, and he rolled his window down and threw something else at me while I was out there with all my friends.
So you didn't see him do this. Now, on September 1st, how was your car damaged?
There was a big hole in the back window of my mom's car. The rock was inside, and there was like a cigarette butt, not the butt, but the the regular end, and it reeked of gasoline. I wasn't there when it happened, but the people that did see it happen.
Where were you at?
Mr. Harris.
Where were you at, Miss Wynn? Tell them where you were at.
The people that...
Mr. Harris, just a second.
Yes.
Mr. Harris, how old are you,
You should know where I was at.
I'm 28.
Where are your parents?
My parents?
Yeah,
They're probably at their home.
You have a mother who's alive?
Yes, ma'am. Father,
Where does she live? I'm speaking. Where does she live?
That's personal. I don't want to tell that on camera.
In what state does she live?
That's personal, too. I don't want to put that on camera.
Fine. Listen to me, Mr. Harris. There is a very strong probability, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Bird, would you go over and take those papers away from him? Because I'm talking to him.
Well, I'm looking for this paper. There you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome, boss.
There's a very strong probability that even though you don't wish to divulge and I don't wish to press it where your parents live, that they're going to be watching you. I feel sorry for them because you're acting like such a fool, sir. I really do. The only thing that I can say in your favor is I've read the report, and the report seems to indicate that you're trying to be a good father to your daughter, which suggests to me that at least part of you is a salvageable human being. But you are such a wise guy, and you're so used to getting over, and you're so used to acting like a fool that you can't even control yourself in court, which is probably one of the reasons why you're in court and in trouble so often.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, he claims ex-boyfriend Arthur Harris Jr. owes for bail money after he was arrested for the possession of drugs. Cheryl also claims Arthur vandalized her car on 2 separate occasions.
I don't have to, Ms. Wynn, go into the 2 incidents with the car. There is probably very little issue that he was responsible for the damage to your car. But you are suing him, and the total amount that you are suing him for is $3,100. Now, you claim the bail was $3,200, which is supported by the evidence, but you say that he paid you back $700. Mr. Harris, because he's such a wise guy, has sworn under oath that he paid you back nothing. I don't think that you are responsible for his bail, and I don't think that even at that time you were dumb enough to say, I'm posting your bail because you're such a great father. Be that as it may, I have a tape that I believe where he said that he owes you this money. And since he swore under oath that he didn't pay you back the $700, even though you say he did, I'm entering a judgment in your favor for exactly what you are requesting, which is $3,100, which more than covers the damage to your cars. Do we understand each other?
Yes, we do.
And maybe Mr. Harris will learn that it's not always a good idea to be a wise guy, especially in court. That's all. Step out.
All you are excused. Step out.
Goodbye, Miss Wynn. She's mad because for 2 years, I took her money. I took all of her money for 2 years and bought 3 homes with it.
I'm family, take care of the baby, take care of the house, go to school, make money.
Then when I got tired of her, I dumped her on her butt.
And then he just does whatever he wants.
I'm in jail. I can't make her call me.
He can't even talk to me like a real person. He has to always talk down on me.
So if she wants to bail me out, she's just doing her job. What she's trained to do.
That's why he's having such a hard time letting me go.
She's really crazy, so it ain't nothing.
I pray to God that he grows up for the sake of our child.
Carolyn Tennant is suing her son's friend, 22-year-old Jeffrey Holly, for stealing her golf cart and damaging it while driving drunk.
Miss Tennant, this young man was a friend of your son's?
Yes, ma'am.
You all went camping together?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a golf cart that sort of takes you to and from, I guess, a lake or shopping or whatever?
Well, it's like the major mode of transportation out there.
And other people have golf carts. Yes. Mr. Holly took your golf cart without your permission.
Correct.
And he was drunk.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And he had an accident.
Yes.
Your golf cart was damaged.
Correct.
And the golf cart of the other people was damaged.
Yes, ma'am.
The other people sued you as the golf cart owner.
Yes.
Successfully.
Yes.
And do you believe that Mr. Holly has the responsibility of compensating you for both that judgment and the damage to your golf cart?
Correct.
Mr. Holly says that it wasn't his fault.
Yes, ma'am.
And he should have been able to go to court and prove that. And since he didn't have that opportunity because you proceeded without him, he's not responsible. Did I identify your position, Mr. Holly?
Yes, ma'am, you did.
I have to find out a little bit about you, sir. Age.
Age 22.
Occupation.
Basement waterproofing and foundation wall rebuilds.
Number of times arrested.
Since I turned 18, 3 times.
For what?
Disorderly conduct, a malicious assault, and unauthorized use of heavy equipment.
Were you drinking during any one of those 3 arrests?
Yes, ma'am, the disorderly conduct.
Now, have you ever had convictions for any of those things?
Yes, ma'am.
Ever go to jail?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
I did 1 week and then I got out on a signature bond.
Are those cases over?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Holly, you and booze don't get along, sir.
Yes, I agree, ma'am.
Do you want to tell me what happened with Miss Tennant's golf cart?
Yes, ma'am, I do. That night, it was Memorial Weekend,
you know, and there was a bunch of us out there together, and, you know, everybody being of age recently, we all decided, you know, we were going to get drunk and have a good time. They have dances at the barn, whatnot.
You know that you don't have a good time when you get drunk.
Yeah, I'm starting to
You
realize
really
that,
understand
man.
that. You know, most of the time you don't remember. Most of the time you act stupid. Most of the time you get sick afterwards. You really have a much better time if you're sober. That doesn't mean you can't drink. That just means that you have a better time if you're not drunk. Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But you got drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
And I decided to take the golf cart keys from the top of the freeway. There was people driving it all day and most of the night. I figured, why not? You know, I mean, we were just going to go around the block and come right back. There was another golf cart passing filled with some people that lived down at the next camper down. And I thought they were going to stop, and I guess they thought I was going to stop, and it didn't work out that way.
So?
So I ran into the side of them. They proceeded to get off the golf cart and just completely make an enormous deal of it. I mean, they're golf carts. They don't go over 10 miles an hour.
No, they go faster than that.
And during all this, I mean, everything started getting out of control. People were yelling at each other. One of the ladies on the golf cart, her fiance decided to sucker punch me. Then I was held from defending myself once I found out in that township I could legally defend myself once somebody put their hands on me. I was held from defending myself. And I mean, why couldn't I get any, you know, closure on that? Because I did make a police report on it, and I figured
You
not
wanted closure. Tell me how you wanted to get closure.
we were going to make a deal. My brother was going to give the guy $1,500 for his golf cart.
No. I'm talking about you wanted to get closure from being sucker punched, you said.
Yeah, either a chance to defend myself at that moment
You mean
in time
to
or...
punch him? You wanted to punch him back.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were prohibited from doing that. How, sir?
Because Alan Reining grabbed me and basically pushed me backwards and bear hugged me and wouldn't let me.
Wouldn't let you punch him back.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would have given you closure.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been watching too many psychological programs that seem to be proliferating in daytime television, sir. Not everything gives you closure. You usually refer to the fact that you want closure when somebody in your family dies. You go and visit them and you say, now I have closure. You know, I've seen them, I've said goodbye. Closure is not usually a thing that one refers to, punching somebody back. That doesn't give you closure. Mr. Holly, you're a very polite young man. Do I make you nervous?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that why you're sweating?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Did it make you nervous when you appeared before the other judges?
Not really.
But I scare you.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a really, really good thing. I've not had a particularly good day today. That is the only thing that's made my day today. The fact that I make you nervous enough to sweat. You owe Mrs. Tennant money. You owe her the money that she spent or will spend to fix her golf cart. And you owe her the judgment that was entered against her for the accident you had when you took her golf cart without permission. Because if you go back, Mr. Holly, these are the objective facts. I'm not going to really scream and yell at you because you've been so polite. I'm going to say it easily so you can get my drift. A, you were drunk. You should never have gotten behind the wheel of any instrument that was moving because you weren't exercising good judgment. B, you got behind the wheel of it without permission. So in effect, you stole it. You had an accident. You're responsible to reimburse her for any out-of-pocket expenses that she had. And her out-of-pocket expenses were?
$1,782.50.
$1,782.50. And 50 cents. That's your liability, Mr. Holly. That's your legal responsibility. And if you don't want to incur that kind of obligation, you're not supposed to get drunk and act stupid so that you really don't know what's going on. You're not supposed to take people's property without permission. You're not supposed to get behind something that goes even 10 miles an hour.
Isla Wiley says her former roommate, Paris Scott, owes for unpaid rent and utilities and car damage. Paris claims she was a guest in Isla's home, but never a roommate.
Please.
Miss Wiley, according to your complaint, the defendant was a friend of yours. She ran into some difficulty. You allowed her to move into your apartment. You claim that the agreement was that she would pay you rent. She did not pay you rent or her share of the utilities, which was also part of your agreement, and you want her to pay you for that. According to you, prior to that, she had borrowed your car, took it to a party, and it came back damaged. You want her to pay for the car damage. Ms. Scott says that there was never a rental agreement between the two of you. You were doing something to be kind to her, and that you only became angry with her when she had some sort of a private conversation with your boyfriend and told him some things that were very personal that she knew about you. You became angry, told her to leave, and then concocted the story about rent. And she would like her personal property back. You indicate that you do have her personal property, and that personal property she's going to get within 5 days of today. She can come either with a marshal or by herself to retrieve her property. Please have it ready for her. So I've taken care of your counterclaim.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes.
Good. Now, let's take care of your claim. How long do you know each other?
About 5-6 years.
And when did she move into your apartment?
February 2009.
Where was she working at the time?
Forever 21.
How long has she been working there?
I'm not for sure. Maybe about a few months, 3 or 4 months prior.
And who had you been living with before?
Me, I've always lived by myself.
Perfect. That's the way you should keep it, Miss Wiley. I mean, as far as roommates are concerned, you can certainly meet somebody and decide to set up housekeeping. But as far as taking in a roommate, it's always a problem. What made you open your house to her?
I've known her for a long time. I thought she was a good friend. She didn't have a lot of friends because of run-ins that she's had with her other friends. And then on top of that, she was always coming to my house. She was always crying. She was always upset because she had gotten into an argument, or she was fighting with her dad, or, you know, they were having disagreements. So it was total drama. And I told her that, you know, my house is always open if you want to come stay here. So then she asked me, like, how much would it be if I rented? And I told her you would have to pay half rent, which would be about $850 or more a month, including utilities. And she said that would be perfectly fine because she's working, and then that on top of that, you know, her mother and her father would help her with rent. So I told her that would be okay, and so I allowed her to start, you know, slowly and gradually moving her things in.
How many bedrooms do you have?
It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
So she moved into one of the bedrooms?
Yes.
In February. And when did she leave?
She left in May when I told her to move her things.
You were working all that time?
Yes, I was.
Why didn't you pay her rent?
Because we never had an agreement to pay rent.
Why would she take care of you? You moved into her apartment. You had your own bedroom. You had your own bathroom. Why wouldn't you pay her rent?
Because the only time that I came to stay with her, my father did have problems.
I don't care what the reason is. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Well, 21 years old.
And
you
I
have
was
a
still
job.
living with my family.
You have a job. Are you telling me you didn't live with her?
I stayed with her from time to time. I didn't live with her for a constant, like, month after month.
I'm sorry, she did live with me.
I did stay with her, and I would go home or stay with someone else.
Hey, your problem is you don't have a mind, because if you had a mind, you would remember what you signed, which was your sworn statement. You want me to read it to you?
You can if you want.
We never once had a conversation about rent prior to me moving in. In April, my family was evicted from their place and was scrambling to find a new home. She allowed my family also to store new things in her apartment. Although I stayed there part of the time, I did bounce from place to place.
Yes. I never moved in permanently. She let me stay there.
Give me the name of the people that you bounced to.
My witness, Latice, and then I went back home with my family.
Last name?
Hampton.
When did she stay with you?
She started staying at my house in May, the beginning of May.
May? Thank
Yes.
you. You may sit down. We're not interested in May. We're interested in February, March, and April.
I never moved in February. I was still at home. She doesn't have a specific date that I moved in.
What stuff do you have in her house that you're counterclaiming for?
I do have a suitcase of clothes.
So you have clothes?
Yes.
What else do you have? You said you have my personal...
Like, in the suitcase, I have, like, a mirror that my sister bought me for Christmas. The suitcase is stuff that we were packing up from the house that my family had to move out of. That's why that suitcase is there. I do have clothes there when I would stay with her. That's the other stuff.
I want to know where else you would bounce to. You said you bounced.
I would go back home. I would go back home and stay with my family.
They were evicted in April.
No, they weren't.
Yes, you said my family was evicted in April.
Not in April, because we just moved
out. In April 2009, my family was evicted from their place.
I never said in April that...
Would you show this to her, please?
I know what
That's
it
your
says.
statement. That's your signature at the bottom.
I know what it says.
So is it wrong?
My family did not get evicted in April. They were still at their house.
So I'm asking you a question. When you wrote that down and swore to it, it was wrong.
Yes, the date is wrong.
Give it back to me. How much rent did you pay your family?
I never paid rent for my family.
Well, you got to pay somebody rent, madam.
I never moved in. We never had an agreement.
You got to pay somebody rent where you're living.
If we had an agreement, yes, I would pay rent. If I never signed anything.
You don't have to sign anything. If we signed it, then I'd be out of a job. Signed it makes it easy. Now, let us say I believe you, which I don't, that you weren't there all the time, you didn't live there, you never formally moved in, you never signed anything, whatever else it was. Then she was just being nice to you, right?
Because she was my friend.
She was being nice to you, right?
Yes.
You explain to me why you gossiped behind her back to her boyfriend?
I did not gossip behind her back.
Really?
Her boyfriend texted me when she left for her cruise to Mexico. He texted me and asked, can I talk to you because I have issues with my girlfriend, Isla. I never responded back to him.
You never respond, so you never had any conversation with him?
No.
No, so just a second. So you never, well then you must be wrong that you never had any conversation with him.
She is wrong.
You want me to call him and find out?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
The only time me and him talked was the night we were going out. All of us. And he asked me, Paris, I have a feeling that something's going on. And I told him, if you really believe something is going on, why don't you guys take a break so you can figure out your thing and she can figure out hers. She has been having issues with her boyfriend.
Jealous.
Yeah.
She's jealous.
Exactly.
Right. Did she have an arrangement with you to pay rent?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Yeah, I believe she did too. When did she move in February?
She moved in actually 2 days after Valentine's Day, so I'd say the 16th.
So we're going to discount February. We're going to go right to March and April.
Yes, ma'am.
Those 2 months. And your total rent is what?
I would say $850.
Okay, so she was supposed to pay $4 1/4?
Yes, ma'am.
Now tell me about the car.
Well,
make sure I get it right.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes. Okay, well, the night before, she drove my car. She had to rent a car because she did not have a vehicle. She went down to the club, and I guess she had the windows busted out. Somebody busted out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Riley versus Kent. Step forward.
25-year-old restaurant manager Cody Riley is suing his former roommate, 20-year-old barista Zachary Kent, for selling his property while he was in jail. Zachary says he used the money to move back home.
Mr. Riley, I have some preliminary questions for you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Are you a college graduate?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you graduate from school?
Ashworth College in Atlanta, Georgia.
And were you working at the time?
At the time I got my degree, yes, ma'am.
What were you doing?
I was a restaurant manager for Jack in the Box restaurant in Texas.
When was the last time you worked full-time, sir?
I'm currently working now.
When did you start this current job?
A week and a half ago.
Prior to that, where did you work?
Prior to that, I was incarcerated.
For how long?
19 months.
So the last real job that you had was in 2001, working for Jack in the Box?
There was another one I had. I did my own web hosting and internet design.
When was the last time you filed federal tax returns?
In 2003.
And what amount did you claim that you earned in 2002?
A couple of thousand.
2002, did you file tax returns for 2001?
Yes, ma'am.
From working in Jack in the Box?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you earn there?
19 and change.
19,000?
19,000, yes, ma'am.
These are just preliminary questions to what your case is about. You were incarcerated, according to what I read in your complaint and in the defendant's answer, for creating bad checks.
Yes, ma'am.
Not writing bad checks, but creating the checks
yes, ma'am.
On your computer.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint is that you and Mr. Kent had been good friends. You decided to move from Texas to Kansas City. And you did move there. You were older by 4 or 5 years. Is that right?
Yes.
Speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Shortly after you arrived in Kansas City, you were arrested for these bad checks and incarcerated. The whole process probably took a couple of years. Shortly after you were arrested and incarcerated, Mr. Kent sold all of your property.
Yes, ma'am.
And with the money, moved himself back to Texas. You don't deny that you did that. Could you answer me? This is a television program.
No, ma'am.
It's not a silent movie. Right?
Yes.
All right, good. Now, why did you sell all of his property?
He paid for my way up there. I felt that he had to pay for my way back.
He's out in Kansas. You're in jail.
Yes, ma'am.
He wants to go home. doesn't want to click his heels together and say, take me back to Kansas. He wants to click his heels and say, take me back to Texas. How'd you expect him to get there?
I had told him recently, whenever I spoke with him, that had he asked or something like that, I would have done something. But taking all of my belongings that cost far more than a trip back to Texas. And
what belongings did he take, Mr.
I have a list of all the belongings that I had in my apartment, including a television, stereo, furniture, dishes, clothing, 2 pet dogs.
Let's see it. Mitsubishi television set that you paid how much for?
$2,099.
Where'd you get the money from?
I had my web hosting company, so I had money from that, and my mother also helped to pay for it.
You see the beginning questions that I'm asking you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're getting red. Now you're getting flushed. I want to tell you something that is apparent to me. We just went through the last 4 years of your life. The last 4 years of your life suggests to me that you had no discretionary income. So I want to know where you got the money for thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff, sir. Is it possible that some of this stuff was purchased with the proceeds from your forged checks?
Yes, some of it probably was.
You're coming into this court and saying, well, I wrote a whole lot of bad checks that I paid for a lot of extras for in my life. He had no right to sell it, and I want you to give me that money back.
Your Honor, some of it was obtained through legal means as far as my jobs over the course of several years. Some of it was obtained via credit and with the help of the family. I've got receipts for those showing that they were credit and cash purchases.
I don't care whether they were credit or cash purchases, sir. You were forging checks and cashing them.
And I also paid restitution on all of that.
How much did you pay?
$3,000.
This is $10,000 worth of merchandise, sir. How do you expect a court to differentiate between what you got through legitimate means and what you got through your forged checks?
Some of the money I had probably came from the checks, but some of it came from the web hosting company as well. Some of it came from family.
And I'm saying to you, you expect a court to spend 1 second of time, Mr. Riley, in trying to decipher what property you purchased through the sweat of your own brow, through legitimate means, and what property you purchased by using forged checks?
No.
And you expect me to spend a moment of my time?
No, Your Honor, the police...
Good! Because I'm not. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't know what was going on until he went to jail, and I spoke with his lawyer.
My theft then, I did my time. His theft now, and he's getting away with it.
He just told me that he made a mistake and he didn't mean to do it.
Whenever the police department did come in, I told them that he had nothing to do with it. He didn't know I was involved.
He wanted me to bond him out, but I wasn't going to.
The person who I had brought with me and I thought was a friend had, in the end, stabbed me in the back.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lang versus Lewis Finch. Step forward, please.
Legal assistant Mary Lang is suing 16-year-old Timothy Finch Jr. and his mother, Octavia Lewis, for the cost to fix her car. Mary says Timothy dented the vehicle by kicking it.
Miss Lang, it is your claim that this young man dented your car.
That's correct.
By kicking it?
Yes.
Mr. Finch says that it was not him.
Okay.
When did it happen and where?
On February 3rd of this year, I was getting into my car. The defendants and some other kids were across the street and they were throwing snowballs at me. I then got in.
How many kids?
There's a bus stop there, and the kids, there's a high school down the street, and the kids stand at that bus stop.
So how many
About
kids?
20.
Go ahead.
I then got into my car and I backed up and I stopped at that stop sign where the bus stop is, and the defendant was standing at the bus stop, but he was standing out in the road, not exactly on the sidewalk.
What specifically about the defendant caused you to remember him?
He had a camouflage jacket on.
Anyone other than the defendant wearing a camouflage jacket?
No, Your Honor.
Just one?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me exactly what you saw.
Well, I had to go a little slow because I was watching out for these kids that were in the road, and there was another car coming this way, and I was making a right-hand turn. So I was looking to make sure that I wasn't hitting these kids or whatever, and I saw the defendant kick my car in the passenger side mirror.
What did you do?
I then pulled up to see if there was any damage, and there was. There was a nice dent in my car, and I went back to my apartment and I called 911. My apartment is right across the street from the bus stop.
Okay. I want to hear what Mr. Finch has to say.
I had detention in school, and I got into a problem earlier in the week in school, so they wasn't going to let me out the building until they knew the bus was exactly coming. So when I left out the school, I was walking down the street, and all you heard was like, oh, like they was yelling, like we thought it was a fight or something. So we walked down there, and then it was a Caucasian, like a heavyset boy was across the street, and other kids was running at him, tackling them, jumping on them, and then they was throwing snowballs at her also. And then they was kept on throwing them, so she went in her doorway, she called the cops. And then I guess the cops ain't come, so she got in her car, she whipped out her driveway, and then she drove off real fast and turned the corner. I was standing next to her, and then there was a whole lot of other people in front of me. And then when she turned, it was an older dude that was out there that ain't go to school. He kicked her car. She stopped, and when she got her car, she said, "You're going to pay for this damage at my car." She was looking at the dude right in his face when she said it, and then she bagged up, and then she went in her driveway, and then she got back in the doorway.
What did this dude look like?
He was dark-skinned. He had a camouflage coat on, he had a black hoodie, and he had a braids on, but he had a hat on.
Had you ever seen him before?
I seen him. He come to our school mostly every day. But he don't go to our school, he just come up there mostly every day.
What does he do at your school if he doesn't go to school there?
He just come up there every day. He just be out there talking to everybody.
Every day?
Every day.
So you've seen him 50 times?
Yes.
And no question that you could identify him?
Yes.
Have a police report?
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it. Now, they took you off the bus, is that right?
Yes.
Did this older guy also get on the bus?
No, once she called the cops, him and the other two dudes that was with him, they went off back towards, towards Granite. That's the street back that way.
Now, when the police took you off the bus, did you tell the police at that time that you could identify the true perpetrator because he came to your school every day and you know who he is? Did you tell that to them?
No, I didn't.
Well, you just told me, and it would seem to me logical, Mr. Finch, that if you had not committed this crime and the police took you off the bus, you would have said, listen, it was this older dude who comes to the school every day, who I know, because I've seen him at least 50 times, I can point him out to you. I would tell that to the police like that. This young lady, step up, whose name is?
LaToya.
That LaToya, who was standing right next to you, right? That's what you said.
Yes.
You saw exactly what he saw, right?
Yes.
You were waiting for him because he got detention?
No, I was also in detention.
Everybody's in detention. Now, after he got pulled off the bus, were you on the bus with him?
Yes.
Did you get off the bus?
Yes.
Did you tell the police that it wasn't him, it was this other guy? He told me about this other guy who did it.
Yes, I told them when they were on the bus.
You told that to the police?
When they were on the bus, we pointed to people, the two boys that actually did it to her car, but they didn't take them. They took him and another boy.
Are you telling me that you told the police that it was boys on the bus who caused the dent to her car?
Yes.
Sit down. He says they had walked away already. Okay. Can I see pictures of the car, please? Nasty.
Nice little kick.
For no reason. Just being stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all. Step out.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
The lady didn't know who kicked her car because she pointed to the first person that took off the bus. She said that they did it.
They coerced him into admitting that he'd done that out of scaredness to go to jail on that particular day.
There was no interrogation. It was either he arrests him, I just wanted the damages paid.
He said the lady's going to want you arrested if you go up to her and say you didn't do it.
The defendant did kick my car. I saw him.
I did not kick the lady's car.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Diva versus Hess. Step forward.
23-year-old animal caretaker Danielle Deaver is suing former roommate, 26-year-old skateboard rep Todd Hess for breaking a lease.
Ms. Deaver, the defendant was a roommate, friend of yours. You entered into a lease together to share an apartment, and it is your claim that he moved out without paying move-out fees, which ended up costing you a substantial amount of money, and you want him to pay for half of that. Mr. Hess says you threw him out of the apartment, and he owes you nothing. When did you move in with Miss Deaver?
No, October or November.
Why?
She just moved back into Wisconsin from California, and I was unhappy with the living arrangements that I was at. So we
And you knew each other before?
Yes.
For how long?
About a month and a half.
You knew him for a month and a half before you took him in as a roommate?
Yes.
It's interesting. When did you move out, Mr. Hess?
December?
Why are you asking me? You said
December?
I don't know.
I believe December.
Is that when you moved out?
It was December.
December what?
The 28th.
Now tell me about December 28th. Under what circumstances did Mr. Hess move out?
I had just gotten back from vacation. We hadn't seen each other for just about a week. Came back, I don't know, started fighting, not sure.
What were you fighting about, Miss Deaver?
No, I don't recall.
Well,
bickering.
now, just a second. So you don't recall what you were fighting about. But Mr. Hess does. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Try to be a little more assertive.
All
What
right.
kind of work do you do?
I am a rep for skateboarding brands, companies.
A what?
Outside rep.
An outside rep. That means you're a salesman.
Yes.
Salesman. Ha! Got to be a little more forceful, Mr. Hess.
All right.
So you remember the 28th? Because you tell me you do. You remember what happened.
Yes, I remember.
So she came back from vacation. She was gone for about a week. Had anything happened prior to her going on vacation?
Well, I found a girlfriend, and we started dating.
This girlfriend right here?
Yes.
Girl with the blue hair? Is that your real hair? What?
My real hair, yeah, not the real color, no.
Even Bird knew that. Okay, so you found a girlfriend before she went away on vacation. That's something had changed. And what happened when she came back from vacation on the 28th of December?
She went out with some friends, went to a bar, I assume, drank, got drunk.
Could you move it forward a little
Got
bit?
drunk, came home screaming at me about everything, about
Well,
the
tell me
living
what she was
situation.
saying to you, Mr. Hess.
Well, she liked me. More than I wasn't, I guess, it wasn't the smartest thing to do is to move in with someone when, you know, there was attraction. And in early December, you know, I put an end to us hanging out. So it got kind of uncomfortable to live with each other.
Now, good. Now I got the background. You moved in
Okay.
together. She may have had intentions that were different from yours. You're there for a little while. You find a girlfriend, and you are drawn to her instantly. That blue hair was dazzling.
Yes.
She goes away on vacation. She comes home, goes out with some friends, comes back, and she's angry about the girlfriend.
Yeah, but this isn't the first time that her anger has, you know, made living arrangements unbearable. There's been nights where I was in bed sleeping, and she'd be trying to get in my room with a knife through the door handle, screaming, banging on my door in front of her friends, in front of my friends. So on the 28th, when she told me in a drunken rage to leave, she wanted me to move out, I just thought...
What exactly did she say?
She said, "Get out, I want you out of here. Leave, just grab your stuff and leave."
Perfect. And that's what you wanted. And that's what you did.
And that's what I did. I had no
That's
place
what
to
he
go.
says happened, Miss Deaver. He said you came home, you were a little bit high, you got into a battle, you don't remember what it was about, so I have to believe him.
Well, that's what he says, but how could I have paid the rent on the 28th to the manager before 5 o'clock, or just after 5 o'clock when he got home from work, if this happened the 28th at night? He didn't even remember when he moved out. I had written the rent check on the 28th for my half to secure that I would stay there when he told me the 27th he was moving out.
What I'm saying is, he says you told him to leave.
That's not true.
Well, but you say you don't remember.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, sure you did.
You said I
no,
didn't
no, 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 no. You didn't remember sufficiently to testify. I said, what was the fight about? You said, I don't know. I said, well, he knows. So if you don't know what the fight was about, and he says, I know what the fight was about Miss Lovely, and she told me to get out, then I have to believe him.
Which is not true, because we actually were on a fight, and he said, can you leave me alone? I'm on the phone with my girlfriend. And I said, I didn't even know you had a girlfriend. So this was in the midst of our fight that all of a sudden he was talking on the phone.
So the whole girlfriend thing didn't even come up till after we were already arguing.
What were you arguing with him about?
Roommate things, I don't know. I had just gotten home from
Are you still in the apartment?
No. I have the 5-day notice to pay or leave. I had paid my half for the January rent on the 28th, which supposedly the day the fight was, which wasn't true. But I had paid the 28th for my half of
January's rent.
Yes.
So I have to determine whether or not he is required to pay any other rent when the situation in the apartment escalated to the point of, it didn't involve physical violence yet, but it quite well might have had it escalated any further. Somebody was going to call the police if he was screaming and yelling at him or at each other, and I believe him because I have nothing to the contrary. You don't remember what the fight was about, and he says you told him to get out. Sounds right. And if you told him to get out on the 28th, and he did, then he's not responsible for January's rent. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Don't move in with someone you don't know who's been evicted a few times before.
Everybody's seen her get gnarly, crazy all the time about stupid stuff, and I had to live in a basement for a couple months because of her.
Somebody has money and they say they'll pay you later and they don't know you well enough to know you're not going to. It's just what happens.
He was locked in his room, and he was like, yeah, she's coming at my door with a knife, and I'm like, wow, you gotta get out of there.
Now it's over. I don't ever have to deal with him again. So I'm happy.
Account manager Fred Grande is suing the mother of his child, 25-year-old waitress Mariam Wahab, for the return of an engagement ring. Mariam claims the ring was a birthday gift.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yes, this is case number 60 on the calendar, the matter of Grande versus Wahab. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Mr. Grande, you want the engagement ring back, and the defendant says it was not an engagement ring but a birthday Christmas present, right?
That's correct.
Can I see the receipt for the ring? Okay, well, the first thing I have to ascertain is, Mr. Grundy, you are suing her for $699 for the return of the value of the ring, and you only paid $359.11 for it. What's the other money for?
Okay, originally the $699 is the retail value of the ring. I did have it appraised, and the total that I did pay on it is $385, and that's the total amount that I did pay into it. So that's what I would be seeking is $385.
But didn't you think I'd figure that out?
Yeah.
I mean, when you filed your lawsuit, didn't you think that I'd figure out that you were seeking twice as much as you paid for the ring?
Well,
you are the only human being in history who buys a ring from a jewelry store and it doubles in value in a relatively short period of time. All right, so you're not seeking $700 for the ring, you're seeking $359.11.
That's correct.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with shooting big, though.
Oh, I shoot big too, sir. Okay, so now we know what your lawsuit is about, Mr. Grundy. You and the defendant have a child together, is that right?
We do.
And how old is that child?
She's 16 months.
And you share custody of her?
We do.
I have full custody.
Don't speak out. I'm really good at getting information. It's really my strong suit. I'm really good at getting quality, accurate information. But I like to get it from the person who I choose to get it from. Okay. Do you have joint custody, sir?
She has sole custody. I have joint legal custody, though.
Okay, so she has sole physical custody. She takes care of all the problems, and you can say, I have joint legal custody.
Somewhat.
See, I told you I shoot big. So you had a long-term relationship with her?
Yeah, over 2 years.
Oh, lifetime. And in the 2 years that you were together, you managed to have a relationship, have a baby, and separate. Is that right?
Correct.
And since I assume, Mr. Grande, that you have been to court, if you have joint legal custody, despite the fact that she has physical custody, I also assume that there is a support order.
There is.
And how much is the support order?
It's for $337 a month, but right now I'm currently paying $500.
Well, $337 a month is the support order, and if you're paying $500, there must have been some arrears.
Correct.
Which means that you weren't paying for a while.
Not necessarily, no.
Well, that's what arrears are, sir. arrears are fixed by the court.
Correct.
If, for a period of time, you are not paying support. Don't you think that they put me here for a reason?
I understand.
You think that I was a go-go dancer before I got this job? I was not. I was a judge in the family court. Arrears are when you don't pay support. They fix on and they tack on an additional amount for that period of time that you didn't pay support.
It's not from lack of payment, though. We originally went to court in June, and she felt that the $250 wasn't sufficient, so then we didn't get to court and finalize until September. So
Just a minute. She felt what $250 wasn't sufficient?
Originally, the support order was set at $250, and she didn't fill it out.
Okay. So originally, a court set child support at $250, or you were paying it voluntarily?
It hadn't been set in any decree yet.
Fine. So you were giving her voluntarily, according to you, $250 a month.
She didn't get any money till September, till the final decree was established.
Now, the final decree was what? $337.
Correct.
Well, you just said to me they felt that $250 wasn't enough.
It was for back payments, $337 times all the months since the original court date of June. So that's why I was, from the start, I was $1,400.
What was this $250 that you were talking to me about, Mr. Grande?
That's what our lawyers had come to agreement, and we thought that's what the amount should have been set at.
Mr. Grande, is what you're telling me from the time you and the defendant separated until the time the court fixed an order of support, you were not paying any money?
No.
So, what I said to you was, your support order is $337, and because you were dingling around, they added another amount to cover the arrears for when you weren't paying any money. And you ought to respond, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how long was it that you were separated, Mr. Grande, before the court set an order of support?
She moved out in February 2002.
Yes, and when did the court make a support order?
September of 2002.
February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So for 8 months, you didn't pay any support. Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Now let's get to this $350 engagement ring, the Hope Diamond that you bought for her. Can I see the ring? That looks like a pretty ring. Doesn't look like any sort of an engagement ring I ever saw. Engagement ring usually has one nice stone right there in the middle that just sits there and smiles at you. Give this back to her until I decide what to do with it, would you? When's your birthday?
December 18th.
And is it on December 18th every year?
Yes.
It doesn't change dates. You know,
Right.
2002 it's December 18th, 2003 it's December 18th, right?
Right.
So, Mr. Grande, you're going to explain to me, sir, how serendipitously, that means just by accident, sort of, you purchased this ring at the jewelry store on December 18th, 2002.
Coincidence.
Coincidence.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. He says his ex-fiancée, Mariam Wahab, owes for the return of an engagement ring. Mariam says the ring was a birthday gift.
Tell me what happened when you gave her the ring in December of 2000, December 18th, 2002, or whenever you gave it
It's
to
not
her.
when I gave it to her, but I'll explain
When did you
to
give it to her?
I took myself, her mother, her brother, and his wife, and my mother out to dinner, and that's when I presented the ring to her.
Explain to me how you did that.
Well, we sat down before we got the food. I opened the case, showed it to her, and I said, "Will you marry me?" I didn't say happy birthday. I didn't say Merry Christmas. I said, "Will you marry me?"
And what did she say?
Well, of course, she said yes.
I would have thought twice.
If she said no, she wouldn't be wearing the ring, right?
Okay. Okay, good. So that's how it happened.
Correct.
And that was on what date, sir?
I would say it was about December 20th.
And you remember that distinctly?
I know it was
remember,
after her
no,
birthday,
you
yeah.
remember. No, do you remember distinctly exactly how it happened?
Yes, I do.
We're not talking so long ago, right?
No.
So you remember that day and that dinner clearly,
I do.
and you would remember something that happened the day before also clearly. Is that right?
I would.
Your daughter wasn't born yet, is that right?
She wasn't.
But the defendant was pregnant at the time.
She was due very soon.
So she was very pregnant at the time. So it was an exciting time, and you would remember that time. What did you get for the defendant for her birthday, December of 2002, 2 days before you gave her the ring?
I believe it was some clothes.
No, you're not, you believe. I'm going to give you a minute to just sit back and think about it. Her birthday, your girlfriend, who's very pregnant, going to have your baby, who you love desperately, who you had bought a ring for, 2 days before you gave it to her, was celebrating a birthday on December 18th. And birthdays are really important when you have a new relationship, so you wouldn't think of not getting her something for her birthday.
Correct.
So now I want you to think really hard and tell me what you bought her for her birthday. Think hard. Why don't you put on your thinking cap?
I believe it was a sweater and an outfit.
Was it a maternity sweater or a regular sweater?
It was a regular sweater.
Was it a maternity outfit or a regular outfit?
It was a regular.
Was it a daytime outfit or an evening outfit?
Daytime. Well, I know what you're getting at. I do.
You do?
I do.
Then if you do, then why don't you just, instead of lying...
Well, because if...
So listen to me. Instead of lying and making things up as you're going, why don't you just say, quite frankly, Judge, I don't remember. I'm sure I bought her a birthday present on her birthday, but quite frankly, I don't remember, instead of standing there like a jerk and making things up.
I don't think that's the case.
What do you mean you don't think that's the case? You don't think that I know that you just stood there and made up the fact that you got her a sweater and an outfit for her birthday?
I was planning on giving her the ring around her birthday and before Christmas. I mean, it's not like I was making the best money, at that time, so...
Mr. Grande, don't you understand what I just said to you? I said that you lied when you just told me that you got her a sweater and an outfit for her birthday, when in fact... You just told me now that you got her nothing else because you were planning on giving her a ring around her birthday. And I said to you, don't stand there and make things up as you're going along because it makes you look ridiculous. Now, do you want to explain to me how you got this ring?
Yes, it was on my birthday, December 18th. We went to dinner that night on my birthday. It was my mom, his mom, my brother, his girlfriend. He didn't give it to me where anybody else could see it. He handed me the box under the table and didn't say anything. He never asked me to marry him, nothing like that. And I took it and then I brought it above the table and I showed everybody else, and that was it. Okay. And he gave me the receipt to go get it sized.
That's how you have the receipt?
Right.
Okay. When did you separate?
February 18th. It was 2003. It was after I had the baby. She was 2 months old.
And when for the first time did he ask you for the ring back?
He sent me an email probably around December. I'm not sure of the month, but it was a while ago.
Can I see? Is that the email? May I have it, please?
And he asked me for it back.
It's kind of colorful language, so
Oh, I can take it. Now, when did you separate, Mr. Grande?
She moved out in February.
February of what year?
2003.
And this was sent on February 2004, a year later.
Mm-hmm.
And this was after you had been in court, is that right? Because I see you've got lawyers here.
Mm-hmm.
So after you were taken to court and you were given a support order in the amount of $500 a month, which includes arrears, we got this. Is that right?
Correct.
Too bad.
They didn't address
I have to make a determination. I'm speaking. I have to make a determination whether the ring that you gave her a year and a half ago was a birthday present or an engagement present. So let's try to look at
सदका फितर के जो मसारिफ हैं अमूमन कहा जाता है कि ज़कात के मसारिफ में है, लेकिन यह है कि एक कौल यही है कि ये फकीर और मिस्कीनों का हक है, और इब्न तैमिया और इब्न क़य्यम ने इसी कौल को तरजीह दी है कि ये फकीर और मिस्कीनों को ही देना चाहिए, बाकी सबके लिए नहीं है। और सदका फितर के लिए नेक फुकरा को तलाश करना चाहिए। अगर पता चले बाद में कि जिसको सदका फितर दिया गया वो गनी था, तो देने वाले को कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा, उसकी अदायगी हो जाएगी, लेकिन लेने वाले को नहीं लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि उसको पता है कि वो ना फकीर है ना मिस्कीन है। सदका फितर में जाहिर पर मामला करना होगा कि जो फकीर मिस्कीन नजर आता है अपने गुफ्तगू से या लिबास से या हालत से, बातिन का मालिक अल्लाह जानता है कि कौन मांग मांग के कितना अमीर हो चुका है, ये अल्लाह को पता है। इसी तरह सदका फितर मस्जिद में या खैराती मंसूबों में नहीं दिया जा सकता, चैरिटी के प्रोजेक्ट्स में नहीं दिया जा सकता। ये गरीबों और फकीरों का वैसे ही हक है। एक सदका जो है वो मुतअद्दिद अफराद को, और मुतअद्दिद अफराद का सदका एक शख्स को दिया जा सकता है, यानी एक फितराना 5 लोगों में भी बांट सकते हैं और 5 फितराने एक शख्स को भी दे सकते हैं। और फकीर आदमी जब किसी से सदका फितर लेता है और वो उसकी जरूरत से ज्यादा हो, तो वो उसमें से अपनी तरफ से या किसी फर्द की तरफ से भी सदका फितर अदा कर सकता है जिसका खर्च उसके जिम्मा हो। और जिसके सदका फितर अदा करने का इंसान जिम्मेदार हो, उसको सदका नहीं दिया जा सकता, यानी जो आपकी जेर कफालत है और जिनका नान नफका आपके ऊपर है, आप उनको सदका फितर नहीं खिला सकते। जैसे माँ बाप हैं या हकीकी औलाद है, इनको नहीं दे सकते। हाँ, फकीर रिश्तेदार वगैरह को सदका फितर दिया जा सकता है, یعنی بہن بھائی ہیں یا بھانجے بھتیجے ہیں یا ان میں سے کوئی ایسا ہے تو اس میں صدقہ بھی ہے اور صلہ رحمی بھی ہے. صدقہ فطر اپنے علاقے والوں کو دینا چاہیے جو اسی شہر یا ملک سے تعلق رکھتے ہوں. اگر اس کا مال کسی اور ملک کے بینک میں ہے تو وہاں سے بھی ادا کر سکتا ہے، اور اگر ضرورت ہو تو کسی اور ملک میں بھی روانہ کیا جا سکتا ہے جہاں فقراء کی تعداد زیادہ ہو. یعنی اس معاملے میں وسعت ہے. ہاں، صدقہ فطر غیر مسلم کو نہیں دیا جا سکتا، چاہے وہ کوئی کتنا ہی قریبی سرونٹ یا ہیلپر کیوں نہ ہو. صدقہ فطر میں عیب دار چیز نہیں دینی چاہیے. ایسا غلہ فطرانے میں دینا جس میں کوئی عیب ہو، یہ ایک غلطی ہے. بس اللہ پاک ہے اور پاک ہی کو قبول کرتا ہے. تو اللہ تعالیٰ سے ہم دعا کرتے ہیں کہ اللہ تعالیٰ ہمیں ان کاموں کی توفیق دے جن کو وہ پسند کرتا ہے، جن سے وہ راضی ہوتا ہے،